All right, so the scene opens with something skittering across the floor of the barn. The cows become a little restless. A horse whinnies nearby. It sounds like maybe it's outside. More skittering. Something moves in the hay pile. There's a rustling noise. The farmhand backs up slowly, lowering his pitchfork, and he wipes the sweat from his brow with a dirty handkerchief. They're skittering above him now, scratching under the floor. He cautiously opens the gates for the animal pens, allowing them to move out into the grazing field. He bumps into the milking bucket and tumbles himself and it over in a mess. His pitchfork clatters across the stone floor. He scrambles up to his feet and runs from the barn, and as he does, a creature leaps from the hay pile, hissing at his heels, and then stops and begins to lap up the spilled milk. Our adventure opens this evening with you four traveling with your clan, most of them close family, some of them married in, others adopted families of dwarves who had no clan and became Granitebacks. You've been cruising down the road for the better part of the day, and you expect to arrive in the town of Elinos sometime this evening. Is there anything you'd like to do as you travel along?
I don't think so.
All right.
Time of day.
It's later afternoon. You're hoping you're maybe only an hour to 2 hours away from Elinos.
Who all has
travel
spears?
in? Oh, say that again.
Everybody should have a spear as clansmen. They're all bolted to the side of the Vardos. So in case you need them. There was another question in there. What?
I was just going to ask what we travel in. Do we travel in the wagons? Do we walk next to the wagons? Do we ride on horses or oxen?
Most of you walk. The Vardos are heavy. They don't outpace walking most of the time. They could if they really needed to, but most of the time the clan just walks along. In a pinch, there are step stools on the side of all the Vardos. The dwarves could, if they needed to flee, climb onto the sides or mount some of the other animals that you pull along with you to expedite travel. There are a number of different kinds of animals along with the trip as well. The 7/7s has acquired a couple of camels, mules. Most of them are horses, a few oxen, but there is an elephant that pulls Orin's Vardo.
Excellent.
Yep.
Hey, I probably should ask this earlier, but is this the entire clan that's traveling with us, or do we have like a base of operations?
Nope, this is the entire clan. Your clan is a completely it's a traveling settlement, basically.
Okay.
Yep. And you guys, the Graniteback clan, moves from town to town, fixing things for other people, doing what smithing they can, but most of what you guys do is construction work. That's funny. Othic tells us he is currently working on reattaching the head to Filbert's spear.
I was just gonna sharpen it.
Oh.
Is it broke? Did he break it? I'd scold him.
There's
Probably
no
did break it.
there's no head on it.
I lost it.
Did you actually lose it?
No, he threw the spear into a tree and broke off the head. I think he was aiming for the mushroom, or he was on mushrooms, one of the two.
Yeah, I think we definitely scold you for that.
Yeah. So, while we're having a little bit of family interaction, why don't we introduce our characters, and that way you guys can, as players, can get to know one another, even though as family members of dwarves, you've known each other your whole lives. Describe your temperament, all of that type of stuff, what you put up with, what you think is funny, anything that you find relevant in that regard. And let's start with Mavami.
Yes, my name is Mavami. I am a Graniteback, obviously. I mean, you all are. Some of us, we wish weren't, but that's okay. Everybody has a purpose. I deal mostly with the contracts of the trade, working with the paperwork. I also am a very good map maker, cartographer. Good job, babe. My wife just got a camera.
I was like, is that part of your intro?
Yes. Yes, the wife interrupts me often. Pretty level-headed. Obviously, I just want everybody to do their job.
All right.
Get paid.
Well, then that said, Mavami, do you go by Mav?
Yes.
All right. Then that said, Mav, that you, for the most part, you would be one of the unique dwarves in the clan that work with a couple of different craftsmen and clan individuals, and you would work with the chief provisioner, Amcum, and the chief architect, Jinwei, fairly often. So you would help with contracts and the drafting of plans for things when you're building stuff. So you would spend
Chief
a lot of
Which is the second one?
Jinwei, the chief architect, chief provisioner, and chief architect.
Okay.
Who wants to go next?
I'll go.
All right, do it.
So Othig's about middle age. He's got a pretty fair temperament. He fancies himself as a smith. He really likes working on weapons, in particular spears. He's got an idea for a spear, a few different spears. He also wants to make like a spear siege weapon that he knows he's heard about but never seen one, and he thinks he can make some really great ammunition for it. And so he just aspires to tinker with weapons and work on weapons, and in particular, if they're of the pulled variety with sharp, pointy things on the end of them, he's all about it.
Nice.
He also will typically go into battle, if there's a battle, with a war gong.
With a
Because
war gong?
He just thinks, yeah, he like actually knows, he knows how to use a war gong like proficiently, so that
What is
like,
it? What is a
rallies
war
troops.
gong?
A war gong? What is one?
Yeah.
Like the thing you sound before you go to war.
So how does he use that? Is that like a shield or a weapon?
It could be.
It's a
Like,
gong, man.
War gongs
I-
aren't used as shields.
I know.
Wargong Gulch.
When you
There it is. Yeah, that thing can be used as a shield. He doesn't use this as a shield, but like I said.
Oh, I get it. I was like, are you trying to be Captain America with this thing? I don't get it.
No,
I was so didn't get it.
no.
Okay, I get it. All
he
right.
likes to rally people to battle, and
Okay.
he'll do that with a war gong occasionally.
Okay, definitely. Okay, I'm
But it's
totally
also
with you.
very useful for getting people together for like activities or calling people to dinner, or just getting someone's attention.
Oh man, that's just too much. So, all right. So fantastic. You have a gong. We need to get you a sound effect.
Yeah.
All right. Who's next? Thanik?
Yeah. So Thanik kind of fancies himself as like the like big brother to everybody in the clan. Obviously not the elders, but he's the one who just kind of looks out for everybody. And make sure that everybody's doing their job, everybody's on task, and everybody's showing what's the word I want to use, making the Granitebacks look good, basically. He is also a smith, but he prefers to work on the protection side of that. So whether that's building strong, sturdy houses, like the making sure that the metal bits and stuff are solid and secure, or whether that means working on armor or whatever. But he wants to make sure that that the Granitebacks are safe. He also has a little bit of some proficiency in some tinker's tools. Nothing crazy, but it definitely is something that he kind of. Because people come in and they want they want whatever fixed, so he will kind of mess around with that. That's not necessarily his calling, but he's not a stranger to doing that. Also, he prefers that we all speak like a proper dwarf.
Dude, that was excellent.
It was pretty on.
Yeah.
Pretty on.
So here's how this goes. We all speak like normal, but definitely when he's in front of people who aren't dwarves, he gets super Scotty.
Is that like when I visit Racine and I think I'm black again?
Yes, it's absolutely that.
Okay. It's so funny. I love when that type of stuff happens to people, and whatever you want to culturally, whatever, that's fine. But I've been playing Red Dead. I'm a cowboy in my house again now. I called Weston partner the other day just on accident. I'm like, well, partner, better not do that. Gonna end up in the pokey.
Also, for what it's worth, you guys have noticed this with being around him so long. He's a good guy, but he's a little paranoid that people are trying to rip him off. Like when people come
are
in,
always trying to rip him off.
yeah. So there's like he's a little quick to jump on that he's getting the bad side of it.
All right, sounds good. How old are you three? Because I know we talked about in episode 0 that Filbert was 19, but Mav, how old are you?
Oh, let's see. He's 19. I'd be close to probably 60.
Okay. And Othig?
I said middle age, and I don't exactly remember what that is for a dwarf.
That's about 100.
Okay, 80.
All right. So early middle age then. Early, you're out of adulthood on your way into. Yeah. Okay, cool. And then Thanik?
63.
63. All right.
Just had to be a little older.
I wrote that down last week.
I am 64.
Are you gonna change gender on me again now?
So Thanik is really only the older brother in mentality. He's got that older brother feel to him. All right. So let's talk about Filbert. Filbert, who is Filbert Graniteback?
Filbert is really excited because for the last 6 miles he's kicked the same rock between the elephant's legs, and he's been keeping track. He really wants Mavamine to care about that. Who doesn't seem to, but that doesn't stop him from making sure that he knows he's been successful. I recently got back from the whole military thing. It wasn't really my bag. I've tried almost every tool, and I hate them all. Tinkerer's tools were fun, but nobody would let me make anything that I liked. The same has happened with the glassblower's tools, but I've gotten very good at making all of my things look like something useful, but all they really are is a pipe or a bong. So I've stayed in that hobby and gotten very good at making all kinds of useful things that just have this inconspicuous hole in them. So I'm definitely weird, eccentric. My dad kind of runs everything, so nobody really cares what my thoughts are, and I've more or less become okay with that. Being the youngest adult, is that what I am? I'm the youngest adult in the clan.
You're not quite even considered an adult. You are the youngest fighting aged man in the clan.
Gotcha. So I just think no one understands me. Kind of just like an angsty teenager feel, while at the same time never really fully paying attention to anything. Always very distractible, very aloof, never really paying attention in a conversation unless I'm forced to. And then currently, the reason I'm standing behind the elephant and kicking this rock is because my leash won't let me go a whole lot further than that. I have been tethered because I have a tendency to forget that we're a group, and I just kind of keep walking in a direction when the path changes. So this helps me not get lost again and again. So Dad usually insists that my leash be there. So all of those things coupled with I think everyone loves me because they're constantly paying attention to what I'm doing, even though they're usually yelling at me for it. Every time that Thanok tells us to speak like proper dwarves, I just yell propeller dwarves and spin in a circle. And then I'm regularly attempting to gaslight his paranoia by insisting that someone's cheating him, even if there hasn't even been a transaction recently. Because I think it's helping him grow as a person. I'm also taller and skinnier than a normal dwarf ought to be, especially for my age. I believe the term is halfty. Is that correct?
Yeah, a skinny, taller dwarf would be referred to as hafty, like the haft of a weapon. Still useful, but...
Yeah, and I've already started to show the symptoms of being a hafty. That taller than everyone, inability to not look down on them, but it doesn't present itself in an arrogant way, more in a why are you looking up at me kind of way.
You said symptoms instead of characteristics, and I just wanted to be like, yeah, he's had a cold for like 2 weeks and he's sneezing all the time. He's definitely turning into a
Well, I think dwarves would view hafty as a disability, wouldn't they?
I don't know if I'd go as far as to call it a disability. It'd be more like being left-handed.
So
There were definitely uses for you being a little taller, but we probably make fun of you when we tell you to use that ability.
yeah, but that's paying attention to me, and I've grown to enjoy that. So yeah, I have expertise in the glassblower's tools, constantly finding random little baubles and things that I just hold onto, and I've got a pocket full of rocks. One that I'm very affectionate towards, and then I'm constantly gathering small living creatures, and I usually keep them in my pillow until they get loose in Arvardo, and then Mavamine usually gets upset because they end up in his pillow.
So can we just make the assumption that you lowered your intelligence?
Negative charisma.
No, I think you lowered your intelligence. You sleep with rocks.
Those are in my pocket. This creature that's in the pillow.
So, that's Filbert. So,
His voice is kind of a little bit like higher too. He's got that dwarf drone, but it's all a little bit more not nasally, but more of that head voice than a chest voice.
perfect. So, you guys continue to trug along, working down the road. Othig has spent some time trying to instruct Filbert on the proper care of a weapon, of the spear. And Filbert's gone. He's not there, but he's there. He's really concentrating on kicking that rock between the elephant's legs. How many times is it?
That rock is actually the head of my spear. It's become rounded. It's been kicked so many times. Oh, I'm at 2,385 kicks.
when he yells that number out, 2,385, and you hear Orin Graniteback, the patriarch of the clan, his voice calls out for a stop, and you have arrived at your destination. There is a small hilltop right outside the town of Elinos on its eastern side that overlooks the valley called the Maker's Palm that this town sits in. This town is a trading hub for all sorts of foodstuffs. This is the most fertile land in the Empire. There are wetter, greener lands to the northeast, but they are so craggy and rocky that it is almost impossible to farm much there. There's large trees there, but they grow up smashing through the stone rather than growing into the earth. So there's not a lot of produce that comes from that place. It's rich in game, and there are some burying vines and things like that. But for the most part, if you're going to eat something that had anything to do with grains, it came from the Maker's Palm, which Elinos sits right in the middle of it. It's very fertile land. It's a depression in the earth. It's really the only plowable land that isn't sandy in the Empire. And so you guys travel here yearly, right at 3 times a year actually, at certain important moments for farming. You travel here definitely right post-harvest and pre-planting. You also travel through here quickly pre-harvest, although there's not quite as much to do because a lot of the tools that they use for harvest, you're often able to take care of those in the pre-planting season as well because they don't use them over the summer. They only use them at the end. So it kind of all works together. It's a cyclical process. You've camped on this hilltop dozens of times now. Well, not Filbert. Filbert hasn't been around that long, but the rest of you have been here dozens of times. So you're very familiar with the town. You're very familiar with the area. And I'm going to go ahead and share this map with you. This is the town. I have highlighted and flagged all of the important areas of town. Most of them are pretty easy to figure out what they are. You can scroll around on there and see what each thing is. The things that you would pay attention to the most are probably the bazaar, where all the trading happens. The slave auctions also happen there. There's the governmental building. There is the town garrison, where the military houses itself. It takes up about 1/3 of the town square. And that's the map
They got what you need.
They do. They do got what you need. The bazaar does. The map that I just shared with you guys is really only the hub of town. There's a lot of outlying buildings. The poorer area of town, and it's not even poor. The Kren do a very good job of taking care of their people. Finding a poor Kren is pretty rare. There's ones that don't have a lot of money, but they almost always have a home and almost always have a job. It is really a rarity to find somebody begging or living on, whether it be governmental type assistances or handouts or any other sort of charity, is not common at all because the Kren excel at finding purposes for people. And they're always paid at least enough for them to support themselves and any family members they have. It's kind of a mark of honor with them. So the common house is spread out to the west there a bit, and there's richer houses spread out around this town center as well. The other buildings of note are the temple and the resting house, which is the inn. The resting house is almost the tallest building in town at 3 stories, but there is the tower at the military complex that soars over that. There's a community mill that a lot of the farmers in the area use in turn, and a bunch of other stuff here. There's a smithy and all sorts of fun things here. So you guys pull into town. You're overlooking it, and so I need you to make some skill checks as you are called upon to set up your tents.
Hey, real quick, where were we last with we were here with some other characters. When was?
Were we?
Yeah, I remember this map. I just can't remember when or why we were here.
I don't think you've ever been here.
I recognize this map.
I did post it online when I started telling your
I know
backstory
when
of
I
the
played it.
Graniteback clan.
No, that's not it.
Tony
Gosh, I
and
knew
Tony
I'd
and
seen this
Andy
map.
have played this map.
Yeah. That was actually what I just referenced with the Mermaid Hunter. But I don't think we went here for
I don't recognize it
For
at all,
Romeo.
so it wasn't with us.
yeah. Ryan
I'm not
losing
saying-
it.
Yeah, I'm not saying you haven't, but I haven't been here at all, so it wasn't with last campaign.
I mean, it only would have been with you guys if
Yeah.
I recognize it, though.
You must
Or
be.
maybe
Yeah.
it was a different channel.
You
but-
must have seen it on the Graniteback History channel.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
Yeah.
They
So-
get good shows.
You guys are proficient at setting up your Vardos. Filbert, you're not, unfortunately. The other three of you are. So you may roll your d20s for setting up camp with proficiency.
I would like to remove my role from Andy's as I'm trying to help him.
That's a +2 for me.
Okay, so it's a 10.
Should be a +2 for everybody.
Yep.
No, Thanik has a 10. Mav has a 15.
That's what I'm saying. It should be a +2 for everybody.
Yeah. So, Filbert, I do need you to... There we go. That's perfect. I love it. So, you guys go to set up your tents, and Othig just does what he always does. He does it perfect. It's with precision. It's with just fast grace that he just pops his stuff out, plants his tent, turns around and looks, and Thanik is doing a fine job, but there's a little bit of sloppiness to it, which normally Thanik wouldn't do. There's no sloppiness normally to his work, but unfortunately there is a Filbert in his way.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah.
If I completed it fast, I would definitely go and help whoever else needed.
Okay.
That'd be Filbert. That would always be Filbert.
Yep. So Mav gets his tent set up just fine. It goes normally, puts his awning out, posts up. It is a perfectly well set up dwarven tent. But Thanik is just stumbling over Filbert. So in the middle of this then, Othig comes over and helps. How would you like to help? Would you like to help set up the tent, or would you like to deal with Phil?
That's funny that you asked that, because I actually would like to just occupy Filbert and either just keep him company or distract him from Thanik in some.
Sure.
Thank you.
It's
So
not hard.
you start to do that. You start to distract Filbert, and the minute you do, Thanik's tent
Actually,
comes up.
can I just add one thing to it?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I want to try to find some clever way to bring up him kicking the spearhead from before, and I don't know, maybe we can make a game or something.
So Thanik is relieved. He's able to put his tent up. Phil, how do you respond to Othig's approach to help you?
I insist that he hide the spearhead, and I will attempt to find it. But I'm going to follow him very closely the entire time he's trying to hide it, so I can see where he's.
That sounds so dirty. We're gonna play hide the spearhead.
It didn't.
The whole thing.
It didn't sound dirty at all until you did that.
I asked him to not play it the way that Thanik does.
All right. So you guys occupy yourselves, and tents go up. So after that, you know this would be the next custom that you guys get to, that you get together, you gather together the 7/7's clan, which is about 49 adult dwarves in number. It gives or takes, but that's usually about the size of the clan. People move on from the Graniteback clan. Was a time when you never lost anybody. You were always enough or more. And those years, after some wars and some other things that have happened, some political machinations between different clans, you guys aren't out of favor, but you're definitely not on top anymore. So about 50-ish people, not bad. It's respectable. It's enough to attract other dwarves that don't have a clan home anymore. So Orin gathers you all together, and he begins the process of passing out assignments for the upcoming season here. Is there anything in particular you guys would like to do?
Mav would offer to do whatever he needs to do to help get this moving.
Okay.
Othig would definitely want to either work on. Are we responsible for? Are we going to be working like harvest and stuff? Right.
No, you might help a little bit with that. It has happened in the past, but typically the harvest is completed. Now, there might be a few light farmers out there who are still bringing in some stuff. You'd be more likely to help with the grinding of grain or the fixing of a mill. This is really the time where the year's tools are in their worst condition, and everybody's preparing themselves for what's known as, in the Maker's Palm, the windy season. It gets very windy here over winter.
So yeah, I'd just be working on weapons or any other kind of tools that I could either just sharpen or sturdy up.
Okay. Thanik, anything in particular you'd want to be doing?
Yeah, I want to just stall area, knowing that I was horribly distracted. I just want to make sure that it's. I want to spend some extra tender love and care with my stall, and make sure that it's up to stuff.
Okay. So you'll definitely be able to do that, because after the meeting you'll be going back to your tents and your stalls. But Oren is asking more in the case of what jobs. He's about to pass out the jobs for you guys to either go into town or go out to farms to help people. Like, what do you want to do now to earn money?
Okay. So what I would do is I would go around and I would I would advertise that we're in town, obviously, doing like repairing homes. If there's any tools that need to be, I would just kind of go around talking up our trade.
Okay, sounds good.
He's a salesman.
In Filbert, what would you like to be doing as far as job style assignments?
I hear they like having ditches dug.
I think if he's being directly asked by Oren, he would just stare and blink his eyes. If he's addressing the group, I would probably just be staring at whatever pocket Granite, or what did Othik put the rock?
The spearhead?
Yep.
Okay. So Oren asks in your direction, but he's not directly asking you for responses, and you're just staring. And you see him shake his head. Maybe you see him. Everybody else sees him shake his head. And he looks over at his wife and he's like, "That's your mother's side of the family." and she nods. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Granny Redstone. Yeah. And she makes a noise, and then taking everybody's considerations into account, the provisioner, along with Mav, who offered to help earlier, begins to pass out assignments. And the dwarves get divided into groups of 3 or 4, sometimes 5, depending on the task, and sent off to do things. You guys are tasked together. Mav, pretty much because he gets to the end, and Othig and Thanik both requested to kind of work on people's stuff, to help out with homes and the sharpening of weapons and tools and things like that. And that fell in line with a request from a farm to the north. And so Mav decides he's going to tag along because they need some help making accounts of how much grain that they've actually taken in as well. So it's kind of all up their alleys. And the meeting comes to a close and everybody starts to drift away. And there's Filbert still standing and staring off to right towards Oren was standing. And he's not there anymore, though.
I'm pretty sure I'm playing my dog Jack.
You are playing Jack. Oh no. No, it's so funny.
Where's the laser pointer?
So, you guys all start to walk back, and everybody is now leaving, and Phil is just standing in the
Do we
spot.
know that we're all? Do we know that the three of us at least are all kind of going to the same area?
Yes, you three know you'll be working together.
Oil, come with us.
Is that at me?
Yes, that's you.
I will kind of break out of my stupor and just trundle after them.
Okay. So you trundle after the guys, and you head back towards where you're spending the night, because you're not going to head out tonight. You'll be heading out in the morning, and it's time to go to sleep. And you all start to get into your tented areas and where you've set up camp for yourselves, and Thanet goes and adjusts the last few things that weren't quite right because of what was going on earlier. He's very proud of what he has now, and everybody suddenly realizes that Filbert never even got his tent up.
Really? We would just now realize that?
Well, yeah. I said it was tent setup time, and you went over to distract him, and I asked you what you wanted to do, and you wanted to go play hide the spear.
Oh, that's true.
Filbert is wrapped up in his tent like a sleeping bag.
So, one of the things that I wanted to do was reattach Filbert's spearhead to the actual spear itself. So I'm eventually going to run into him.
Okay.
Give him that.
Just so you know, Ryan, it is currently rounded, so it would be blunt, but Filbert's okay with that.
Well, I mean, it's either going to have a new head or I'm going to sharpen a rounded spear.
Oh, I like the one that was on there. You can put that back.
Jeez.
Whatever he did, he had stabbed something enough times to where it bent the tip of this spear almost in a full circle.
So when I give it back to him, I would want him to know that even though, like, I know, because I'm sure I would probably know that he didn't really, like, enjoy or care about his time. Maybe it sounds like, you know, him being off to the military and just coming back. I would just want him to know that, you know, I know he doesn't really care about it, but it is an important tool to have, and he should take better care of it. I don't want to scold him about it, though. Like, I want it to, like, sound endearing.
Okay.
Because I am, like, reattaching that for him because I know, like, he doesn't care about it, but I care about his well-being.
Sure.
Yeah. You picked up on that Filbert really just doesn't understand why he was sent away. Like, he didn't learn anything while he was...
No, you don't say.
I fixed it, Adam. It's appropriate now.
Okay, good, thanks.
You're welcome.
That's so funny.
I was like, because bottom line here is that you're actually a little endearing and charming, so your charisma definitely isn't low.
No, I agree wholeheartedly.
It's reverse charisma. It's
Yeah.
it's Lenny charisma.
It's like the really ugly dog. It's like the really ugly dog that's really cute somehow.
It's John Coffey.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Anyways, all right, make a persuasion check, Othig, as you're trying to speak to Filbert in a way that he understands and communicate to him on his level. And it's not really all that good. It's not terrible, but you get a feeling like you get some of the words you want in, but a lot of it just bounces right off of his head. And it doesn't surprise you. The clan had received several visits from commanding officers in the militia while Filbert was away. Oren didn't talk a whole lot about it, but Mav, being of that household, definitely heard about it from time to time, that Filbert they were never mean to him, but they figured out right away that Filbert was one of the exceptional people in the Kren Empire who was just probably should have been born in Setnovia.
No, but like that makes so much more sense. Like after playing through our last campaign and knowing like what the Kren are about, like that statement really resounds.
Yeah.
Tony is offended.
Yeah, you know it should be.
That's an amazing statement. I'm so happy.
And they did their best to help him find his place, and they didn't punish him or give him extra hard work because they figured out he's just a weird dude. So that's one of the reasons he didn't learn much. And so you are now, you've heard rumor of this. You are now experiencing this where you're it's like your first 5 or 6 words are spot on and then the rest of it's just gone. It's off the back. It's over for Filbert. So you do a good job, and then you watch him grab his tent and climb into it like a sleeping bag. He looks more like a fat caterpillar, but he falls right asleep.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. So you guys wake up the next morning. Everybody, just give me a D20 roll to see how well you sleep. Except for Filbert. You get a nat 20.
Oh, man. 5. Oh, none
So-
of us sleep well except for-
Othig slept great.
He sleeps great.
It's a good night's sleep for Othig.
I've never slept well the first night.
Filbert sleeps just perfectly. This is how he slept every night in the militia when he was supposed to set up his pup tent. Coming home now, having his own large tent and not just a small canvas tent, it's like luxury. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. You guys, you're just a little amped up about what's going on tomorrow.
Yeah.
There's a general level of excitement to just head out and do your own thing. So you guys, in the morning, head north to the Dimatolis farm. It's a local family, one of the larger farms in the area. It's pretty far away from where you're at. It's about a 6-hour walk to get to the farm. So you rise pretty early and you head out and you begin to catch a glimpse of the farmhouse from not too far away as you approach. Is there anything you guys want to discuss or talk about or do on the road?
Man wishes that he had the elephant to ride this way.
Oh no, you don't. Nobody gets to ride the elephant.
I am now working on Mav's weapon.
Okay, you're working on the other weapons? Sure.
Yep, whatever weapon Mav has, I'm working on.
Oh, Mav,
Peter?
before you guys leave town, I need you, as you're gathering your things, I need you to make a perception check for me. Oh, that's not good. No, just Mav. Nobody else gets to make this one. That's okay.
Oh, whoops, sorry.
It's you don't hear a word of what's going on, but Orin, your father, and hold on, I gotta remember to put these guys in a quick access sheet in Fantasy Grounds. Where are they at? Where? They're there, Clan Graniteback. Amcom, the chief provisioner, are in a pretty serious argument about something. You have no idea what it's about, though. You don't stop to listen. You just decide you're late and you need to get going, so you take off. All right, so you guys spot the farm from not too far away. It's a pretty large estate. They have a good-sized olive orchard out front. Up in this area, the Maker's Palm, you do see a lot of scattered trees. Nothing coming close to a forest, but it does look like this particular farm was built around a patchy grove, so to speak. There's a cliffside in the back. And Othig, you remember being here once when you were a kid. There is a cave in the cliffside that you remember playing in. And it was, as a dwarf, caves are always really, like, awesome for you guys. And there's just not a lot of them that the 7/7s comes across. But you remember this one because it was probably the first cave you were ever in. So
Would the entrance be visible on the section of the map that we have?
it is. If you look at the cliff face, you can see that little blip. It's a little indent, and there's a blip to it. Yep,
Yeah.
that right there.
Okay.
That's where the cave's at. So you're kind of jazzed about being here because, well, it's your first cave experience. It's pretty cool. Anybody else as you're approaching the farmhouse?
Where are we approaching from?
The
Which direction?
south.
Okay.
Yep. All right, then. Well, you approach the farmhouse, and there's a large porch outside. There's a couple of benches and some chairs out front from the door. And as you begin to walk up, there is a thin human woman standing on the porch, and she's waving at you. And she comes running out down the road, and she's like, "Are you from the caravan?"
I'd greet her.
Oh, you are so polite. Thank you. Your timing couldn't be better. We would like you to get to work in the barn immediately.
Yes, ma'am.
Can she give us the details of like what kind of work she wants us to get right to work?
Oh, I think it'll be pretty obvious once you get in there. You can start by fixing a few of the animal gates.
Okay, I'll just tell her that we'll get right on it.
That's just wonderful. I'm so glad you're here. Very good. And it's kind of odd. You guys do notice something odd.
Do I feel like something's off here? I mean, I always feel like something's off.
Someone's trying to cheat you.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm like. Go ahead.
You feel like this might be more off than normal. It's really you've been around a lot. You've done a lot of these kinds of jobs, and you've never been so quickly ushered right to work. There's usually more formal greeting time, a little bit more friendliness. You also notice that there's 6 or 7 farmhands sitting on the benches out front of the house. They're not out working. So if you want, you can roll an insight check.
Yeah, I do want.
Oh, it was so close to a 20.
Hey, check that out. That's a 19.
So, Filbert already did. You guys are all looking at this. Thanik, you make an insight check. You begin to feel like something's up. Something's not 100% right, but she's nice. She's really friendly. You don't feel like she's trying to swindle you. But the situation's definitely not normal.
Thanak, I think she likes you.
Of course she does, Laddie. Why aren't... I'll just ask her, why isn't anybody working? Like, why are they sitting out?
They all look at each other, and one of them in the back goes, "We're on break!" Right? Break. It's almost lunchtime.
I'm going to ask what a break is.
It's where you don't work so you can eat lunch.
Is it lunchtime?
Humans are great.
It's a little late for lunch, but it could be lunchtime if they spent a long day working already.
Can I just like gently ask her if everything is okay?
Make a persuasion check for me.
Nope.
Everything is just fine. It will be better once you fix the gates in the barn.
Well, I'm definitely accepting that answer, and I'm just gonna get right to work. Then I'm like done looking around at this because clearly I don't sense anything's wrong. So I'm just gonna get to work.
All right. So you're heading for the barn then.
Matt would just ask her if there's anything in particular that's broken with them.
Oh,
Like
they're just
the hinges or...
they just don't close right. Some of the hinge work needs work. It's been a long year in the barn, I think.
So I have an out of character question real quick. Did they did they like contract us through like is this contract work, or are we like supposed to ask for money? Is this our like have we already been paid?
They have already paid.
Okay.
Clan Graniteback has a standing contract with the towns that they visit where people who need work pay for the work ahead of time, and then you guys go and take care of it. Depending on what gets done and how well the job is performed affects how much you get. But it's basically like they all apply for work, and you guys come into town and get as much done before you have to leave.
Okay. Is it typical or not if, since they pay in advance, if the work requires... if it was undervalued or whatever, is it customary or not to reassess payment afterwards? You know what I mean? Like if they say, "Hey, we need this fixed," and it turns out like, yeah, you need a whole new sewer system.
Because Thanic's always getting cheated, and he'll be darned if he's getting cheated out of like pay for work.
Seriously, like Graniteback work is good work.
There is a mandatory deposit for overages that is paid. So if you need supplies or if there's extra resources that get expended, that absolutely you get paid more. There's coverage for it.
We went over this. They put it into an escrow account. The government holds on to it, give them a bill for what we charge or what we do.
Yep.
They pay us, and then they deal with everything else.
That's exactly how it works.
I don't know how many times I had to tell you this. Every single city.
Even I remember that.
No, you don't
Even
remember.
Filbert does.
You don't even remember if your shoes are on. Okay.
I don't wear shoes.
Right, see?
Well,
See?
unless you guys hurry up, like, Oddleg is the only one who's going to be doing this work that you're all complaining about, so.
All right. Heading into the barn then?
Yep.
I'm already there.
I'm already there, he says.
I've been there like 5 minutes.
All right, so you're in there for like 5 minutes. You're looking around. There's definitely some work that needs to happen on the hinges. There's a couple of gates that are askew. It's odd though. It looks like no chores were done in here this morning. Make perception checks for me.
This is a 7.
Man's going to be just jotting down notes of what needs to be fixed and how much we bill for that.
Yeah. So the only one who notices it is you guys all see the bucket knocked over, but Othig notices that there is a lot of milk that's been spilled out of this bucket, and it's just very bizarre farmhand behavior to leave this kind of mess. But you don't see anything else. So let's get to work on fixing some gates. Now, each of these pens has a gate on it. Those who are skilled with tinker's or smith's tools can attempt to fix the gates. The others, you can find a way to help by bringing supplies or doing other things, so you're not useless, but let's just see how we do. If you're not skilled in those tools, you do not get to roll with proficiency.
So just make a
D20?
D20 roll, add your proficiency if you're proficient, or a D20 roll without it, and let me know what you roll.
Mav is continuing to work on the paperwork. He's the only roll of 3.
19 plus 2.
I rolled the wrong thing, but it's a +4, so it's a 18.
Nice.
I removed my proficiency from my roll.
I see
But
that.
he's still got on that 20.
So, you guys all do an exceptional job at this, except for Mav, who is really he's focused on calculations and what's going on with numbers. You guys do an exceptional job of fixing all of the gates, and now I need perception checks from you. Mav, yours is going to be at disadvantage. You're fixing that last gate, you're swinging it back and forth. Filbert, you were extraordinarily helpful.
Natural 20, but -1. So.
All right.
How are we doing natural 1s and 20s?
Oh,
Are they
yes.
auto-fails?
That is a great thing to ask. And I'm going to need you guys' help to remember this. On skill checks, if you roll a nat 1, you will roll a d10 to see how bad it gets. You will subtract that roll on that d10 from your roll. So, depending on if you rolled with proficiencies or bonuses or not, it could get very bad. If you roll a natural 20, you will roll a d10 and add to it. So, a nat 20 is not an auto success, but it is still a great success.
Okay, so do you want me to roll a d10 now?
Yes, please.
That would have made mine a 28.
To help?
20.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mine's a 20.
21.
Thank you, jeez, holy cow, 21.
You know, I'm here for you. I know math is hard, but you do have 2 thumbs.
My character is smarter than I am.
I pulled up a piece of paper and start showing you how to calculate that.
Yeah, I think Matt would probably remind you that you can also see your toes, so you probably want to use those as well.
So, Thanak,
I can't see my toes over my...
a couple of things are happening here. One of them is, and this is what's got Mav so distracted, is that for whatever reason, Filbert is being extraordinarily on task and helpful.
Yeah, that has been throwing me off.
It's really strange. You're actually writing this down so you can tell Dad later that when we did the hinges in the barn and we were fixing the things that had to do with the animals, Filbert was very involved.
I know why it is. It's because they're human doors, and these guys aren't tall enough to reach the top of them, but I am.
You know, that is actually pretty helpful because these are pens that hold cows, and they are tall gates, and so you are a bit more helpful in that regard.
How tall are you?
I just put tall.
Tall for a dwarf would probably be 5'3", 5'4". So he's up there. And he's still growing. He might even get another inch before he's done. Might make 5'5". Wow. So, you guys wrap this all up, and everybody's kind of talking and thinking about it was a pretty easy project. It wasn't a big deal at all. When Thanik begins to hear something, there's a skittering and a scratching sound coming from around the barn. And this is the first time you notice, and this is fairly unusual for this time of day, there are no animals in the barn at all. The horses are out. The cows are out. Everything's out.
Is this where someone says, "Shh, do you smell that?"
Yeah. Listen, do you smell that?
No, but this is the point where Thanik looks up in the rafters and sees a number of rats in the rafters staring at you guys. And
how big are they?
they're big. They're not quite giant rats, but these are easily the largest rats you've ever seen. And they rush you. And I'm going to need you guys to roll initiative. Thanik, you can roll with advantage.
Oh, sweet.
Because you've seen them coming.
I've seen them. You're good.
All right. Let me get our rats ready here. The barn rats. And I will... You guys can disperse yourselves around the room as you see fit. I will put the rats where they're going to pop out.
Square icon. What?
Did it come out as square?
Yeah, I stole a square.
Oh yeah, yours is a square. That's weird.
I can fix that. Hold
Totally
on.
weird.
Because it's just you.
Yeah.
That's because you're such a square.
That's so thick.
You're not like Graham, though.
Yeah, you get a square icon today. I'm sorry. I don't have your token
That's
in here.
totally fine.
Why don't I have your token in here? That's really weird. Okay, you're square today.
That's cool.
Let's see.
I like it.
And where's Thanak? He's there. You did definitely... You saw the one for sure.
Okay. Can I wait to move myself based on where the rats are?
Yes, because you saw him coming.
Okay.
And...
Was that just because he rolled a 20, or do you have to roll a certain number to...
It was because he rolled... He rolled definitely high enough with... It was an over 20 that you had to get to see the rats coming.
Oh, okay.
I would like to imagine that I'm inside this pen holding this door up while Matt is on the outside working on it, so I actually don't see anything that's happening out there.
Matt would not be working on the door.
So
He's
funny.
taking notes.
As this fight starts, Filbert...
No, or by somebody else's door.
Filbert, you hear your name being whispered on the wind when this starts. You hear, Filbert.
Huh. Is there a window behind me, or
There's some venting windows.
I'm gonna go look up the window.
All right, who starts this? Rat number 4 starts this madness out. So you guys see 5 rats that come crawling out of various places. They're quite large. They're not giant, but they are big rats. And this first rat, Rat 4, is going to go after Othig. And he's going to roll an 18. And that's going to hit Othig. And so this rat bites you for 1 point of piercing damage.
Rats.
Rats. It is now your turn, Othig.
So do we all, like, are we all paying attention to what's going on besides Filbert, or is Filbert the only one who's not, or is there like 2 of us who don't?
You at this point, you guys do all.
I think I scream out rats.
Well,
Yeah.
here's the thing. So I guess I'll just ask. I just want to use a bonus action to let loose the war gun.
That's
Do
fine.
you even have that with you?
Dude, yeah.
We're gonna go fix some hinges, so I'm gonna bring my war gun.
It's just strapped to my back, man.
All right. So you can definitely ring the war gong with a bonus action.
I'm just gonna smack that sucker with the butt of the spear one good time from my back, and then get into the action.
All right. Get into it. Give me an attack roll. As the war gong goes off. Oh, it's only an 8. Unfortunately, you have missed rat number 4. So, rat number 3 comes scampering out. 20. He's going to dash for Thanek. So he gets to here, but he can't make an attack. Thanek, you have a rat getting ready to gnaw on your boots. It looks terrible.
And I am offended by this rat nonsense. And I'm gonna hit him with my blacksmith's hammer.
Do it.
You're getting it.
Oh, that's going to get it.
Yeah, dude.
21 to hit. Roll some damage. Oh, man.
Instant death.
4
You're getting it, rat.
4 damage to this rat. You just take your hammer and you just smash its head down. It's just gross. Rat head
Damage on a D4 is legit.
sprays out from the sides of this hammer. You pick it up and there's still like an ear stuck to the side of it twitching. It's really gross. Filbert, it's your turn.
I am trying to find where the voice came from outside the window.
Okay. You can look out the window. It's a little bit of a climb, but it's not enough to where I'd impose a check. It's a barn. There's a lot of good places for handholds and footholds.
Okay, all right, thank you.
So you pull yourself up and you look out the vent window and make a perception check for me. That's not so great, but it's not terrible for where you guys are at. You look out the window and there is a swirling of dust and it blows right in your face. Make a Constitution saving throw for me.
Is that all of us?
No, just Filbert. The dirt goes in your eyes and it's in your mouth, but it doesn't sting and it doesn't taste bad. In fact, it feels good.
Huh. I think that'll end my turn.
Yeah, well, it's your movement and a perception, unless you have something a commoner can do with a bonus action.
I don't think so. So that's my movement, my action, and I don't get a bonus action. So
With your
just-
bonus action, go ring Othic's war gun.
I did hear a gong go off. That is a thing.
You did hear the war gong.
I will move to here. Just kind of not rubbing my eyes, but like my hands were on my face, and I look around and I go, "Oh, rats!"
Yeah. All
And
right.
I'll end my turn there. I think.
Okay. Sounds good. So that's going to bring up rat number 2 then. And he is going to zip down here and attack Mav. This rat comes snapping and snarling and only rolls a 7. So I'm guessing he's going to miss Mav for sure.
He is actually a Miss Mav.
And that is now your turn, Mav.
Mav is going to stab at it with a spear and not do well.
Is that part of an update that it shows a target over the target that's currently active?
It might be.
Probably a setting that's set up in
Yeah.
Fantasy Grounds. It's
I
been
like
there.
it. Like when you've got 4 of the exact same monster, like we almost always do, it's like showing you which one is actually active. That's
So I'm guessing that the 7 will not hit the rat.
No, a 7 will not hit the rat. All right, so that's going to bring up rat 1, who is going to dash and
if my 8 isn't hitting it, your 7
get to here, and it's going to bite at Thanek as well. And Thanek is going to be bit. That's an 18 from this rat. These are ferocious rats. You are bit for 1 point of damage.
All right. All right.
And let's
Bring it, you gummy little.
Rat 5 is gonna come after Filbert. Filbert, does a 14 hit you?
Probably. I
We
have a 10 AC.
A 10 AC.
You have a 10 AC unless you have a point in Dex, and then it's an 11.
Oh, I suppose.
Yeah, I just thought about that as well. All right, so Filbert, you are bit for 1 point of damage as this rat chomps down on you.
But I'm the nice one.
Yeah, well, this rat don't care. Rat
Are
don't
uncaring
care.
about that.
Othig, you're going to be bit again by this rat. By rat number 4 that's in front of you, and he's going to do 1 point of damage. And at the top of the round, you guys see the floorboards on the other side of the room start to push up. And you don't know what's going on over there, but
Oh man.
there's something going on the other side of the room. Othig, you're up.
Okay. Oh my gosh.
I'm going to kill you guys with rats.
That's the exact same roll.
It is the exact same roll. So you take a swing at this rat and nothing. You got nothing. Thanik.
I will defend my friend.
I knew you were going to say honor.
I don't know.
I will defend my honor.
No. Poor wee Filbert.
So you're hitting rat number 5?
Hitting rat number 5.
Oh, man.
Instant death.
Dude, you just club this rat in the head and just smush its brains out, too. You are the rat slayer. It's
Look at the icon that's on it.
Yeah, I saw that before.
That's awesome.
The
I love
rat
it.
is dead. Filbert.
So where is this buckling happening?
Over there.
Here we go.
I am far more interested in that. So I'm going to move over here.
Okay.
And I seem to have misplaced my spearhead again, so I'm going to use my stick like a staff. Am I able to with the versatile, or is that not a thing that?
Yeah, you can definitely versatile.
Okay. Hey guys, this thing's way more effective when you take the spearhead off.
Make an attack roll, please, against the rat.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Oh, Filbert, you clobber it right in the head. Roll damage. Smush. Instant death to that rat.
See, when you swat at things, it works better. And then I'm going to head in this direction.
Okay.
And look intently at the floor.
Make a perception check for me
There's a laser pointer under it.
as you're running over there. Oh, you see there's a little snout and whiskers poking up out of there. At least at first you think it's little, and then you think about, well, that's little maybe for a cow. Rat number 2's turn. It's going to bite at Mav. And miss. Mav, it's your turn. This rat cannot seem to hit you. And you hit the rat, however. Clobbering the rat.
What?
What?
Well, his strength is obviously negative. But you can't do less than 1 point of damage when you hit something. So you do 1 point of damage. And you stab this rat, and it kind of flops around a little bit. And it doesn't look like you killed it, but it does stop moving. You believe you've put this rat into unconsciousness.
I would like to point out that I was sharpening that weapon on the way over.
Good
I think
thing.
I would have been doing non-lethal damage just by nature of who Filbert is,
Okay.
by the way.
You give the rat a loving bonk on the head for 4 points of damage. And it's unconscious as well. So there are 2 unconscious rats that are out of the fight. 1 conscious rat, and pushing up out of the floorboards is the biggest rat you've ever seen in your lives. It's the mother of all rats. This thing is at least 4 feet long. It's huge. It's a monstrosity. There's little Asian guys running around calling it a kaiju. It's so big.
I asked it if it knows my name.
It comes running up to you and bites you. Attempts to bite you. And it will solidly bite you for 6 points of damage, Filbert.
Holy cow!
Filbert's unconscious.
So Filbert, you guys watch as
Filbert,
Filbert
no!
runs over there and says, "Do you know me, little rat?" And it just leaps up on his chest and digs into his throat, and it's just tearing at poor Filbert.
My last words are, I think it knows me.
All right, Rat 4 is going to take a bite at Othig. And he will hit Othig for 1 point of damage.
Man, this thing.
Othig. Your turn. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
There it is. Roll some damage. All right. You come down on this rat with your spear and you put it out of action. It's done now. Thanik.
I'm gonna move.
Thanik is going to charge his fallen brother. That Masha's coming for you! Oh.
Oh no,
Misses.
and you miss.
Oh no.
Oh, you suffered the sickness of 5, I see.
I did.
Yep. Filbert, please make a death saving throw.
No, he's like,
I got it. No, I'm definitely dying.
Oh, I thought you. You should have 6 health at least.
I had already taken 1.
Oh,
Yeah, he did.
Gotcha.
That is such a different environment than it was even last week.
Yep.
I'm dying because I took 1 point of damage already. All right, Filbert. You see him moan a little bit, and he moves his arm to his neck and is pressing on the wound. He's not dead yet. Mav.
Yeah, it's a nice rat.
Mav's gonna step forward, and then he's gonna throw a spear.
Yeah.
Right on. Thunk. All right, so your spear hits the giant rat for a little bit of damage there. And then it is the giant rat's turn. And it turns and looks, it squeals because he got stuck with the spear and it's looking around and sees Thanik, who's got rat blood and gore all over his blacksmith's hammer. And it turns on him. And it will hit him for 3 points of damage.
Jeez, that's scary.
This actually is scary.
Just need each other's help.
All right, Othig, you're up.
Oh, no statuses either. We don't get to know how healthy things are.
Hover over a person and you'll see it.
Oh my gosh.
Jeez.
All right. The rat's still up. Othig is just having a hard time hitting things. Thanik.
We're gonna try again. Oh, yes!
A critical hit from the rat smasher.
Are we doing D10s on,
No, that's just on skill checks. So after this rat bites it, Thanik is like, "Oh, you like that, huh?" And he just turns around and you just shove your spear right in this thing's mouth and twist around and remove its lower jaw with your spear and then kick it for good measure as you spin it off to the side.
Oh, look, he's playing hide the spearhead.
And the giant rat is no more. Filbert.
I'm gonna go grab my spear.
Okay. Filbert, Filbert's doing a good job of self-medicating at this moment.
It's really the only thing I'm good at.
Can we help this?
Yes, you guys can take some time now to make medicine checks and attempt to stabilize him.
Not really that good at medicine. It's a 7.
All right. Othig does manage to not fully stabilize him, but allow for an extra death saving throw success. So that does stabilize our friend. Filbert, you don't need to make that last one, but you do. You would have succeeded anyhow. So you're unconscious. Your brothers and friends are really, for the most part, pretty beat up, but you're doing all right.
Over my eyes, and do I hear my voice on the wind?
No, you don't.
I will pick him up, and carry him to a. Actually, I would bring him to. She wouldn't have any. How far away is the town proper from?
Oh, it's 6 hours.
Oh, 6 hours.
It's a long way.
That's it.
So I will go into the lady's house. Not go into the lady's house, but I'll go up there and just demand. By the way, this is Adam talking. My kidney stones are killing me right now. So I'm just kind of wandering around my room while this is happening. So I'm not even at the computer, but I may just disappear at some point. But for now,
Okay.
Are you going to pass out?
Oh, no, this hurts. So I might have to go to the. What was I saying? Oh, I want this lady to give Filbert a bed or something so he can rest.
Okay. Make a persuasion check.
Mav's gonna go with him.
How about with advantage because I'm probably screaming?
Yeah, that's fine. You can definitely
You
have
make an
advantage.
intimidation check.
Yeah.
Mav is gonna hand her a bill for what we just encountered.
Okay.
Oh, whoa, an 8 with advantage. Shit, it's bleeding hurt.
So you guys go tromping back up onto the porch carrying Filbert, and everybody on the porch gasps. It's like a bunch of locals are like, "Ooh, that looks bad. Did the gate get you?" And they start to smirk a little bit, and they see you, and they know you don't think it's funny. And she's like, and the wife, the woman in the house is like, oh dear, bring him in, we'll get him set up right away. I got tonic. So,
Is that a high school potion?
so you guys run Filbert in the house, and she pushes a bunch of stuff off of the kitchen table and has you lay him down on there, and she goes into Granny's med kit, and she's like, this was my mama's, and here's some needles, and here, chew on this, and she shoves a stick in his mouth. She's like, bite down, and Filbert's unconscious, so it's kind of just like lolling off to the side. And she goes to work on Filbert, and Filbert, you can come back awake with 1 hit point, and then you can roll a D4 for healing. Oh, not bad. 3. So, yeah. Right, you did math right. I did it wrong. So, good job. So, you wake back up. You have some of your health back. That was a wild ride. That rat bit you hard, bro.
I think I stepped on its tail.
And the lady looks at the bill and she's like, yes. Rats, you say? There were rats in the barn?
Does she look like she's lying? Like is she actually surprised?
You can make an insight check. No. I mean, yeah, she's actually surprised. She is absolutely 100% surprised when she tells you this. You believe this lady. She had no idea there were rats in the barn.
I apologize and inform her that she still has a bill for the extra services we had to perform.
I will see what I can do about this, even if they take it out of our deposit. That's fine. How are the gates?
Graniteback seal of approval.
Oh, that's good. That's very good. I'm so glad.
Did we actually repair all of them before
Yes.
we got jumped by rats?
You did actually repair all the gates. She says, well, I have some other things around here that need fixing and taken care of that we have paid for. So, what would you all like to do next?
How is Filbert? Is he doing okay?
He's doing really pretty good now at this point.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, she fixed him up pretty solidly.
Would she be willing to, if we asked, would she be willing to just help out some of the others here who, because we've obviously explained to her that we just dispatched, a small battalion of rats from her barn, so is there anything that she can do to help out the rest of
Well, yeah, yes, I can, but I only got 4 more uses of Mama's med kit, so use it wisely. So you have 4 uses of a D4 for healing if you can make it back to the farmhouse if you get hurt.
Okay. Who's hurt?
I'm at 50%. I took 3, so I'll roll a D4.
Yeah, I'm at 60.
Okay.
I'm fine.
Sweet. Okay.
All right, so yeah, you guys.
So there should be 2 left.
She patches you up. Yep, there are two uses of the kit left. She patches you up, does some stitching, cleans up your wounds a little bit, uses some alcohol on your wounds, and she's like, "Are y'all ready to get back to work?" Well, there's a few things here in the farmhouse that need fixing. Some broken windows and a few shutters hanging off, and there's some shingles on the roof gone bad too. We could use all that replaced. The silo needs some tuck pointing done, some mason work in order to make sure it stands up throughout the windy season, and the grain elevator needs some tinkering, if that's something y'all can handle.
I think so. As far, are you saying like a tinkering would need like a proficiency?
No,
is that how
you
phrasing that?
could if you don't have proficiency with Tinker's tools, you could find a way to fix it without that, but you might have to get a little more creative, so the DC might be a little higher.
Okay.
Filbert will offer to do the grain elevator.
I'm so nervous for you every time you offer to do something because I don't know what's coming out of you.
Yeah. What can I ask out of character what are our proficiencies again? I have expertise in smithing and proficiency in tinker's tools. What's everybody else?
Smith and Wargong.
I don't think Wargong is.
Hey, it's a tool in the PHB.
How did you get expertise in one and proficiency in one, Adam?
From the Krenish traveling craftsman background.
So we should all have...
You can have 3 skills, or you can be proficient in one and expert in one.
Okay, yeah, I'm proficient in the Tinker's tools and an expert in glassblow.
Okay. So you guys are all in the house at the moment. I just moved you over. It's a nice looking place. So what do you want to fix first? Do you want to go after the silo or do you want to go after the house?
What did the house need again? The shingles and what else?
A bunch of different odds and ends repairs. There's a broken window. Some shutters need fixing before the windy season comes. There's some shingles that need repair. So general house repair.
I mean, I can work on that house.
I'll do whatever. I disconnected for a minute, so I missed what is actually happening.
Okay, we're just talking about what you guys wanted to do.
Can I ask her if she knows of any other encounters we might encounter?
Encounters? I don't. Oh, you mean like the rats? That's so strange. No. I think you'll be just fine.
What were the jobs again?
Silo, the house, and
Fix the silo or fix the house.
Let's do the silo.
Okay.
like, is this all of us?
Well, you guys can choose to do one project together and do them both that way, or you can split up and do them separately. It's up to you guys.
How about this? I'll take Filbert because Filbert, you want to do the silo? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
So you and I, let's go do the silo, and then you guys can decide.
Okay. So that would leave Othig and Mav to do.
Matt, what do you want to do?
Yeah, it's up to you. I'm just here for the ride.
Well, this is basically becomes a skill challenge now to see how well you fix the stuff at the house. So if you're fixing the house, you don't have to think about, oh, I got to fix the shutters, then I got to fix the windows. It's just your general work on the house.
Let's just go work on the house.
Yeah, it kind of sounds like we're splitting up. Just do 2 and 2.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if you're proficient in a set of tools that could help you in the project that you're doing on, you may roll with proficiency. If you are not, then it's a straight D20 roll.
Would the smithing tools help with this, or just tinkers?
The Tinkerer's tools would help with yours.
Are we able to tell what's wrong with the grain elevator?
It just looks like the gears need some work.
Okay. I'm gonna chat with Thanak as we're going out and we're doing this, and ask him if he spent any time with the Tinkerer at all to like learn, or if he just found what he liked right away.
Say it again.
Basically asking if you have any knowledge about tinkering is what Filbert is trying to just.
Yes, I do. Middling. It's not my. I use tinkering to round out my professional knowledge.
Oh, so you have tinkering?
Yes. I have proficiency in tinkering.
Okay, I'm gonna work on the left side. You can work on the right side. Mike.
Do you have proficiency in this?
I do.
Yes, sir.
But Filbert's goal is to improve the grain elevator.
Okay. All right.
So he's not trying to fix it. He's trying to make it better.
Sounds good. So, Othig, I will need another roll from you. Oh, that's not good. Oh, that's Filbert's roll.
We both fail.
Yeah, I thought you said advantage, so I rolled advantage. I rolled a 16 and a 7, but you want me to just re-roll?
Yeah, because I don't know which one was the first roll.
Gosh, we suck today.
Obviously,
So that's going to be +4.
Okay, +4. So, you guys, these DCs aren't real high, so be happy about that. You guys have a partial success, not a.
Wow.
The house is a partial success. You struggle a little bit. You get the windows done, not too big of a problem. Shutters are back on, okay. But one of you two takes a digger off the roof. So I need to find out which one it is. So you both need to make dexterity saving throws, and whoever rolls higher does not fall. This is the roof crew.
Gotcha.
Oh no. Othig, that's a nat 1. Please roll a d10 for me.
Oh no!
I am all sorts of winning. I am so winning.
That is a total of a -8 on your saving throw. That's gonna bring out some damage. So you take a pounding as you tumble off this roof. You land straight on top of your head for a total of 4 points of damage.
How do I fall on my own head?
He's top heavy.
Yeah, it's bad news. Thanak, you watch him go over, and you guys are walking away, and Mav runs to the edge. You watch him tumble over, and you see him land straight on his head, and he hits it hard enough to bust a rock in half as he lands, and the gong goes off. And
On my spearhead.
I'm gonna laugh. And immediately walk in for one of those. What was
one of the med kits,
Picture.
Mama's med kit.
Yeah, I'm totally rolling a d4 for Tinker.
Time for a rest.
Oh my god. Guys, I'm using the other one.
All right.
Oh, there we go.
So you managed to get stitched up all the way. You have a wonderful scar across the top of your head now. There's blood everywhere. She's cleaning you up, but you guys,
I think we found my spearhead.
you guys have fixed the roof. So let's move.
I let her know that we also did a little landscaping.
Let's move to the other group and see how they're doing, which it didn't look real good. So Thanak, you have a 6 on your Tinker's tools, and Filbert, you have a 5. A 6 and a 5.
My goal is to elevate the grain elevator.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just gonna put some rocks under it and lift it off the ground like a foot.
Okay, so you're messing with the grain elevator, and Thanak is off kind of doing some of the masonry work and the tuck pointing. It's not what he's best at, but he's a dwarf. He's got this, right? And you guys are working, and he sees what you're doing with the grain elevator, and he's looking at you for a minute, but there's a moment where he thinks your plan might work. And then that all goes to crap as a rope snaps and the lift drops, and you get flung, Filbert. The grain elevator goes down, you get flung. I need dexterity saving throws from you two to see who gets hurt worse.
This is a dexterity saving throw?
Correct. Yeah. This is a dexterity saving throw. Okay, so Thanak, you watch as Filbert gets flung up to the top, and he goes into the window of the silo and tumbles over, and you hear him like thump on the inside of the silo. He's landed in the softer grain, and you hear him oof, and you think he might be okay. And while that's happening, a piece of the mechanism from the elevator comes swinging around and whaps you right across the chest. And you're going to take... You absorb most of the damage, but you still take 2 points of damage as this thing comes clattering down on you.
All right. Oof.
And then the door to the silo opens up. Filbert now has revealed the interior of the silo.
Do I feel like this is an efficient way to get grain into the silo?
No, you do not.
Okay, good. I'm gonna rig it up to do that every time.
What?
It got me into the silo real quick, right?
Did you hear where he said you do not feel that this was efficient?
Yes.
Okay.
Hey, you guys over in the house realize that your friends at the grain elevator could probably use a little bit of help.
I just want to point out that this is quickly turning into the dwarves from The Hobbit.
Yeah, if we're done, I definitely walk over there.
Eventually they do really well, okay?
Yeah.
And only half of them die.
Yeah.
So, you guys head over there, and are either of you skilled with masonry?
Not masonry, no.
No one is skilled with mason work.
Nope.
The collapsing of the grain elevator has caused some fairly moderate structural damage to the bottom of the silo. So, you may now make whoever's better at it may now make a I got the hiccups. Tinkerer's check at advantage. And then somebody else will have to try and fix the foundation.
Okay.
Can I use my work with the chief architect to assist in developing a plan to fix that?
You can. In doing that, you may make the mason. Whoever wants to make the mason check can do it at advantage. But I'm guessing that's just a straight D20 roll at this point.
You don't need to make the mason check.
Sure.
Okay, so at advantage though.
Yes.
Hey, Ryan, how many skills do you know?
2.
Which are they? Don't say Wargong, because Wargong is not an artisan's tool.
Dude, dude, check out the PHP. It's a tool, man.
It's a tool. It's not an artisan's tool.
I mean, if he wants to be proficient with the Wargong
Yeah,
on an
I
artisan
wanna
level,
be proficient with the
that's-
Wargong.
He has expertise in the war gong.
Yeah.
No, I'm actually just proficient with the Wargong. I'm expert with smith tools.
I cannot handle this Wargong. It's just so beautiful. Because it went off when you fell off the roof.
Yeah.
There you go, buddy.
There you go.
All right.
Roll another D10.
Oh, nice. All right, so this is 26. All right, so
4, even.
a 13.
No, never mind. That's too
A 13 is enough of a success for the grain elevator to be fully restored to functioning purpose. It is no longer broken. Thanek and Filbert work on it. You catch Filbert, Thanek. You realize that there might be a mischievous streak inside of that guy as well. It's not.
That's just gonna say.
It's not just the dullard you thought. There's almost a maniacal pattern to what he's doing, and you realize he's trying to set it up like a trebuchet to fling the grain into the top of the silo. And so you make some corrections along the way to get the project back on course, and it is now working well, just the way it's supposed to. Because of the architectural skill that Mav has brought to the project that him and Othig are working on, you guys are actually able to point out several other weak spots in the foundation of the silo, and you realize with probably another year or two, this thing would have gone over. You have qualified for a great success, and so you have vastly improved the structure of the silo and probably saved this family a ton of money and maybe even tragic misfortune by correcting this silo problem.
Good job.
So very
Good job,
good
buddy.
job.
Maybe one day this silo will be able to throw itself.
Maybe indeed. So, what would you like to do now?
Did we finish? did we finish all the repairs then? Did we get everything that she requested?
You have finished all the repairs in the house, correct?
Did she have any other repairs that she completed?
So yeah, you go back in and you talk to her, and she says, "Well, I don't necessarily have any other repairs, but if you wouldn't mind running a few quick fetch errands for me, it's getting later in the evening." And she says, "The hands all went into town for the night already. They won't be back till late, and one of them they left a grain cart out in the field, and the other was supposed to bring in the winter window coverings from the cave that we store those things in, and they didn't do either of those things. So I'm willing to kick in some extra pay that I would normally pay to them if you would go get it. Both of those things for."
We're here anyway, so we might as well.
Yeah, we'll tell her we'll do it. I'll tell her we'll do it.
Perfect.
I'll do it.
Which errand would you like to run first? Would you like to go get the grain cart or go to the cave?
Othig's really interested in going back to the cave since he's familiar with.
Anybody else have an opinion?
No, I mean if okay, so I'm having a meta a crisis at the moment. Would we don't ever split the party? However, in reality, would we just look at it as like, okay, you two go take care of the cave, and we'll get the cart? I mean, would we do that?
Yeah, I would think so.
That's kind of where I was thinking.
So,
Because I feel like under regular circumstances that would make the most sense, and that'd be an efficient use of time and resources.
yeah.
I'll go with Ochiog this time, and Matt can go with Thanak.
Okay, sure.
Othig, you are experiencing something that I'm going to do as your DM for you. You are experiencing a moment of apprehension. This is those moments, like I talked about online, where there might be a bad idea coming. And so I am giving you a chance to correct a bad decision. Please make a wisdom saving throw.
You said save?
Save. You don't really want to be alone with Phil after you saw what just happened with Thanak, and he threw himself at the rat monster. You feel like you either want to pass him off, or maybe you should all do this together.
Okay, I'll change my mind and say that we'll just maybe the cart is a little heavier, and we'll just all move it together, and then we'll take a trip all together into the cave that I remember.
So you're going to the cave,
cool to show everyone.
Cave or the field then? To the cave first?
Let's do
To the field first. We'll do the field first, and then we'll.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you guys.
While we are traveling over there, I want to have a friendly conversation with Phil about, because I saw what he was doing, and like this mischievous whole like wanting to make a trebuchet, but I also want to kind of try to shape that into something positive.
Okay.
I'd just be like, okay, like there's a cool idea about the trebuchet. You know, what are your what made you think of that?
Okay, so last time somebody had a private conversation with Filbert. They rolled to see how well they did. This time I'm going to have Filbert
This isn't a
roll.
private. This is just
Okay.
the conversation with everybody as we're walking.
Right, but it's still aimed at Phil.
Okay.
So this time Filbert gets to roll an insight to see how much of that he picks up on.
Okay.
Very little. Thanak, you can roll a perception check to see what you think about how well he's picked up on, or an insight, whichever you prefer.
I'll do insight.
You,
Not much better.
you 100% believe that Phil has figured it out. You have helped him. He's nodding in agreement with everything he says at the right times even, and you are just continue to talk. You get to the point where you're just talking out to the fields, and everybody is now listening to you, and nobody wants to do anything uncautiously, even if it might be a good idea anymore. That's how you're convinced of that.
All right. Fair enough.
All right, so you guys get out to the field, and there is a large grain cart out there. Please make perception checks for me.
All of us.
Yep. Oh, that's good. That's a 20, 19, an 8, 19,
Nice.
and an 11. All right. With the two 19s, you two, Othig and Filbert, you definitely see there is a large, maybe bestial almost sized grasshopper moving around on the far side of the cart. It's on the ground. It's like eating at the cuttings of the wheat that has been trimmed for harvest. You see it. It's out there. You're familiar with these creatures. It's a giant locust. They're not uncommon. They can be problematic though in large amounts, but you only see the one.
Do we know if they're nocturnal?
No, but they get very active before dark. They'll start making very loud cricket sounds and not too terribly long once dusk really hits.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah.
So, since I noticed this, I guess as we approach the cart, I'm just gonna have my spear ready, but I'm actually going to like bang on my gong to try to scare them.
Oh, all right. Go ahead and make an intimidation check. Okay. I'm gonna make some rolls here.
Do we know what they eat?
They will eat just about anything. And Othig starts banging on this gong, and unfortunately you only rolled a 6. So you watch this thing turn towards you, and it starts to skitter across the ground, and then another one comes up from behind the cart that you didn't see and leaps over towards you guys, and you'll need to roll initiative.
Jeez.
Okay. Hey, I got flung into the grain elevator, right?
Yeah, totally.
Okay. Can I assume that there's still some, like, in my pockets?
Sure, you
Sweet.
can. So Othig rolls an 18, Thanik rolls an 18.
Nice.
Filbert, nat 20 on your initiative.
Jeez.
And a 14. Solid initiatives. Filbert rolls his d10 for another 8. Filbert has a 28 initiative.
Oh, I wasn't even thinking about that for initiative as well. Okay, cool.
Yep. So there are 2 giant locusts out by this cart. Let me zoom in a little bit here. And I'm going to do that to center us on the map. I'm going to remove that and put these guys out here.
Oh, did you center the map for us?
Yes, I did.
That's awesome. Have you ever done that before?
Yeah, I've done it here and there.
Oh, cool.
Man, that like zoomed way in. That was like
Yeah.
right.
But now that I'm recording this as video, I figure I got to keep up on at least the player side that's running for me, so that it looks right.
That's cool.
All right, so you guys, put yourselves all in squares, and you guys, because 2 of your friends spotted the locust, you guys are prepared for this attack. So Filbert, you're up.
I am emptying my pockets of all of the grain to attempt to try and distract one of them over to that area right there.
Okay.
And then I'm running over here to hide behind my brother.
Okay.
Because bugs are gross.
Make an animal handling check for me.
Ah, crap.
It's not a high DC, man, but just I'm not gonna say it because your wife will yell at me.
She's not in the room. Animal handling. Got it.
Oh, that's good. All right. So you will distract locust number 1 for a round. It will move to that point on its turn. You watch it hungrily look at the shelled grain, and it's excited. Othig, you're up.
So, is that gonna change if I attack it?
It will likely change if you attack it.
Okay. Okay. I don't know if I can get there.
I don't think you can. Yeah, you can.
Well,
Yeah, because you have 25 movement speed.
Yep, you can get right to the south of it.
okay.
If we were playing that squares were 5.5 or like 7 feet of movement diagonally, then you wouldn't have. But nat 1, that's not good, and a 5 for nat 1. The nat 1 and nat 20 attacks work differently than skill checks and saving throws, so it's not an extra D10 you'll roll. These we will roll the D20. So please roll it. Follow. That's worse. That's much worse. Unfortunately, Othig, you will have disadvantage on your next attack.
That's so sad.
Yep.
Yeah, it happens.
It does happen indeed. So, Thanik, you're up.
Okay. I will. So there's a part of me that wants to continue to try to scare these things away, but with Othig's banging on his war gong, it didn't really have that much of an effect. So I would assume that scaring them away wouldn't really work then.
Yeah, they look pretty aggressive.
That's what I was assuming.
Based on the idea that me watching him not seeing the roll, but that was his best attempt and it didn't really do anything.
Yep.
That these are not scarable away.
Yep. That's kind of what that's turning out to be.
Okay.
Because it sounds to you just like any other time he rings that gong.
Right. Yeah. Not into just like killing.
Yep.
Random
I can't
bugs.
think. Yeah. Sorry, I can't think super straight right now. Jesus. Super. 7. Nothing. That's
Nope.
it.
You will miss the locust.
I didn't yell enough.
Mav. You are up, my friend.
You use the void.
I didn't.
Mav is going to step forward and hurl his spear and missed.
You will miss the giant locust. You feel
Do I
like you
have
just
an idea of where the
barely
spear
missed
went?
it. Yes, it'll be in the ground right next to it.
Okay.
It hits
You
its
better
its
run off.
its carapace and kind of bounces off it a little bit. So it was real close to damaging.
Can he pick it up this round as well, or is that next round?
You can pick it up. I'll let you pick it up as a bonus action. You still have that.
He's
So
going to pick it up as well.
okay, cool. Then that's going to bring us to Giant Locust 2, who is not distracted by the grain, so it is going to make an attack on. I got 3 of you guys there, so let me roll a random. 1, 2, 3, 4. It will be against Mav. And it will strike you, Mav. It will do 1 point of damage, and I need a saving throw. Strength saving throw.
Oh, excellent. My best saving throw.
And then you're going to take another 1 point of damage as this sucker kicks you, and you fly 15 feet backwards and land in the
Oh my
dirt.
god.
And you tumble and roll around, and sure, that's fine up there. You tumble and roll around, and you're like, oh! So you took some damage. It wailed on you pretty hard. This one is distracted, and it goes over here and it's eating this round. That's going to bring us back to Filbert.
I am excited that I was successful. And I'm going to run over to this one and whomp it with my staff, non-lethal.
Okay.
That'll be a natural 20.
Nat 20. Give it some whomping. All right.
And I knock it out, and I tell it that it shouldn't eat me.
Okay. You start
good
speaking
talk.
to it, Filbert, and you hear, Filbert.
Oh gosh, where?
It sounds like it's coming from everywhere.
I'm just gonna cover my ears and yell, nope, 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 nope.
Nobody else hears this, so you are now all watching Filbert cover his ears and yell nope. Okay.
That will end my turn.
All right. Othig, you're up. Othig, you have disadvantage this turn. However,
Oh, that's true.
I was going to tell you that because the bug is distracted, you have advantage, so it's going to cancel out. So, but you don't critically miss, so you run up to it, and it is now has turned its attention on you, even though you missed it. Thanik.
Alright, I will just give like an initially a very proud look at Filbert for both distracting and then killing something, and then just like a recoiling, like, what are you doing?
Yeah, you go to tell him good job, and he's like, stop talking, stop talking, stop talking.
yeah. And I just kind of like even take a couple of like steps backwards as I'm running to this thing. I'm like, what are we gonna? And then I stab the giant locust.
Yeah, stab it with your spear. for 1 point of damage.
I'm still distracted by Silver.
Yeah, definitely. So you do manage to hit the locust. It is now paying attention to you. Mav, you're up.
I'll just yell. I should have used the hammer.
The rat.
You guys are more effective without the head.
And unleash the spear again.
Attacking while out of ammo.
Oh. Well, I had it. I picked it up.
Oh, that's really
Yeah,
funny
yeah.
that it told us that. All right, so you huck your spear and it plants itself in the locust and it begins to flop around, but it's laying there on the ground flopping around and it starts to get up, but before it does, it's going to unleash a kick. Othig, even or odd?
Even.
That is an odd number, so you're going to get kicked. If it hits you. It does have to hit you still. And it will not. It is a natural 1 for this creature as it's just in so much pain from that spear hit. And then it rolled a 3 for recovery, so it will have disadvantage on its next attack. Yep. All right. Filbert, it's your turn.
I will gingerly pull my hands away from my ears. Do I still hear?
Nope, you just heard it the once, but you do see the wind swirling the dirt around you again. And it is blowing around you.
Does it feel inviting or scary?
Why not both?
You feel soothed by this, but there is a reverence to it.
Oh dear. Can I make an insight check to see if I feel like there's anything I'm supposed to do?
Sure.
Sorry, I don't know how to word those things to word it without saying the insight check part.
It's stuff we're practicing. It's good. That's the appropriate time to go, can I make an insight check?
Okay.
You don't hear it, but you feel it. Whatever this phenomenon is communicating with you, it wants you to let it inside.
Who wants to hide the spear?
I'm just gonna take a really deep breath. I'm gonna sit down because you said it's swirling around at my feet.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's all around you.
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna sit down and I'm just gonna take a really deep breath.
Okay. Everybody else make perception checks at disadvantage because you are all focused on this giant locust.
Oh, suck. Whole thing.
Hey, not terrible.
Not quite enough though. You guys see Filbert moving around in the background and the wind's kicked up oddly, but that's it. Filbert, you feel this grainy. The air is grainy. It has texture to it, and you'd think you'd start coughing. You've experienced things like this before, being in a dusty environment or something like that, and you begin to cough and sneeze and choke, but that's not what happens. Instead, you feel invigorated, and you are healed for your damage.
Oh, good.
Yep. And is there anything else minor you'd like to do on this turn that might qualify as a bonus action?
I'm going to roll onto the grasshopper to protect it in case anyone tries to hurt it. The one that I knocked unconscious.
Okay.
It's gross.
Okay. Othig, you're up. No.
Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna start calling you Nothig. Thanic.
How does the grasshopper look? Not damage-wise, but temperament-wise.
It looks... It's really hard to tell with an insect. Make an animal handling check, please. You've encountered enough giant insects in the Kren Empire before. Thankfully, nothing too terribly dangerous. The clan did deal once with a pack of scorpions and drove them off, but definitely you've seen these buggers around before. It looks scared.
Okay. General-wise, are these things considered like a nuisance, or is it like like the way I'm trying to think of it. Here's my question. Based on what I know, based on everything going on, would I want to kill this thing to get rid of it, or would I be totally happy just to like shush it away? Shush.
You'd be happy. You'd be happy shushing it away. They are to farmers considered a major nuisance and problem. However, more along the line of a thick herd of white-tailed deer because they are very good eating.
As in they taste good?
Oh, yes.
It is time to eat.
All right. Then I will try to kill it.
Okay.
Not gonna, but
Nope.
I'm gonna try.
Unfortunately, you miss the creature. It's gonna bring up Mav.
I'm gonna just circle around.
Okay.
But that's it. That's me.
All right, Mav, you're up.
Matt would like to go get his stick.
Okay. It's right next to the creature.
Okay. And then he'd like to pick it up and stab the creature.
All right.
Man.
Unfortunately, you
Guys, we suck.
You will miss. All right, so that's the giant locust's turn, and it is going to attempt to kick somebody again. It has 3 targets now, so I will roll a d6 and 1, 2, 3 it out. Othig, that's going to attempt to kick you. And it will succeed, so you will be kicked for 1 point of damage, and then I need a strength saving throw. That will not be enough. So you will take full damage and will be kicked 15 feet back. That'll put you to there. And you will take a total of 5 points of bludgeoning damage between hitting the ground and being kicked by this creature. And then it is going to attempt to flee. So if you two would like to take tax of opportunity on it, you may.
Yeah.
I want dinner.
Sweet. 13. And 17.
all
So
right.
I'll go first, and then you can go next.
Okay.
Does that sound fair?
That's fine.
Okay. 3. Well, yeah. Did you hit one hit point?
Othig is unconscious.
I assumed.
All right. So you guys managed to kill this giant locust, and Othik is laying on the ground next to Filbert, who is currently cuddling with the other giant locust. How would you like to resolve this problem?
Is this? I mean, like, how much? Okay. How much of this is typical Filbert? Not in the sense of he does weird things, but in the sense of like, is he vegan?
I'm going to attempt to revive this thing and shush it off before these guys can get to it.
Filbert, make a insight check against yourself. You're beginning to feel something again.
Okay.
That's good enough. You feel like if you were to kill this creature to eat it, it would be okay. And you know that they are good eating.
Huh.
It's a real circle of life feel you're getting here. And in answer to Thanok's question about whether or not Filbert's being extra weird, to some degree you haven't gotten to spend a lot of time with him since he's gotten back.
Right.
But this is definitely way weirder Filbert than when he left. You don't know if the military broke him or
Clearly.
or what, but this is stranger.
With that insight, knowing how many people we have here and how many people live here, would I know that one is enough? Or would I feel like killing two is shooting all the buffalo in Oregon Trail?
It's not close to
There's
kill.
more buffalo.
You were able to kill 2,000 pounds. Unfortunately, you're only able to bring back 5.
Yeah, you can throw like 2,000 pounds a day. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's not nearly as extreme as killing all the buffalo. You do know that one of these would feed the entire household plus you guys tonight, and the other one would probably be able to feed them over the next few days because the meat lasts a good long time.
Oh, all right. I just wanted to make sure the Cigar Star Indian wasn't going to cry at me later.
No, you're good. You are good. So, you manage to defeat the locusts. So you end the other one that's on the ground. You load him up on the wheat cart and you push it back to the house.
And I'll go grab Othik and I'll carry him and I'll bring him back to the lady and he's bleeding out.
She looks at him.
It would be bad if we ate Othic.
Yes.
Well, Othe took all the potions and didn't leave it.
It
I know.
might be bad if you ate Othig. The lady of the house, Miss Mirabelle, says she's shocked that Othig has again hurt himself so badly. And you tell her about the locusts, and she says, yeah, sometimes there are locusts in the field, but usually not after a cutting. They usually come right before. That's so strange. Tell you what, you boys brought all this food for us. How about I put you up for the night and you deal with the cave in the morning?
That'll work, ma'am. We'd appreciate it.
Okay. So she gets to work on preparing locust legs, and you eat them just like we would eat crab legs.
We'll tuck Othig into bed.
Yeah. Othig wakes up about an hour later with 1 hit point, and feeling pretty rough in the gut from that kick and that tumble across the ground. And you guys, you spend the night. Do you want to set a watch or take any precautions? She does not expect the hands to come back tonight. When they go to town, they usually make a night of it. So she tells you can put yourself up in their room, and there's a bunch of beds in there.
At the very least, I would take watch. Even if it came down to the point where nobody else would, I would stay up.
Matt would spend some time doing some paperwork and
Quick question.
take a watch.
Yeah.
Did the animals get brought back in from pasture, or were the lazy hands worthless that far too?
No, they were all brought back in.
Okay, but there's nobody here to tend to them in the evening?
Correct, there's not.
Filbert will go and tend to them before going to bed.
Okay.
He's also going to dispose of the rat carcasses and all that. And then I think he's going to stay out there.
Okay.
I don't think he's comfortable staying in a house.
Yeah, it would be weird for you. You would not have often slept in a building.
So yeah, that's what Filbert's gonna do.
Mm-hmm. There would have been a few times while you were in the military that you would have been in a garrison building and you would not have liked it. So okay, make an animal handling check for me as you take care of the animals for the evening. It's not terrible, but your DCs are. I am working with the partial success, partial failure model with your checks as well. So a 6 is not good, but it's not terrible for a commoner either. It's a little below average. You're not used to animals like this, so it takes you quite a bit longer to get stuff done. Miss Mirabella comes out after dinner and gives you a hand. She helps guide you through it. She thinks you're kind and sweet for helping, and she asks if you like animals.
Most of them, yeah.
My husband liked animals. That's why we got this here farm. He didn't like the chickens, though. They were my idea. He likes eggs. He's dead.
The eggs?
What's wrong with chickens?
They're noisy. He liked to send the farmhands to do the early morning chores, and the rooster, well, roosters crow. She says, I got something for you. I don't know if you would like this or not. And she goes...
After everything else she's been doing, I'm a little leery.
She goes back in the house while you're putting some more cows in the pens, and she comes back out with a fur vest. And it's a very natural looking feeling fur vest. She's like, I notice you don't tend to wear much.
It's hot.
It is warm here all the time, but when you're around civilized folk, they appreciate it if you put something on. And she says, this was my oldest son's when he was about your size before he got married and moved away. I'd like you to have it.
I will thank her and accept it.
Okay. You may have a leather vest. It doesn't do anything for you other than look natural.
Cool.
Nice.
Yep. Everybody else, you can get a full night's rest.
Sweet. Hot dog.
And that rooster definitely starts crowing early in the morning.
Just for what it's worth, I don't want to, like, during my watch, I don't want to interrupt him, or I don't want to, like, do anything necessarily. I just want to go out and check on Filbert, make sure he's okay, make sure he's comfortable, all that stuff. I don't want to bother him. Just want to make sure he's doing okay.
He is curled up sleeping next to one of the mules. And he seems to be okay.
All right, as long as he's comfortable. I don't want, because I may take it as that he doesn't feel like he belongs. So I want to make sure that he's not here because he's, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Does that make
definitely.
sense?
Definitely.
As far as the rooster in the morning, can I attempt to, since everyone seems to be teaching me things, can I attempt to teach it to not be as obnoxious in the morning?
Sure. It starts cock-a-doodle doing in the morning. You wake up and you head over towards the chicken coop. Make a animal handling check to try and talk to the chicken. It's not bad. Unfortunately, chickens are not smart animals. You try, you pick it up, you get in the pen to the edge of it, and it comes over by you. It's like on a fence post, probably cock-a-doodle doing at the morning, and you grab it, and it doesn't peck at you. It kind of does that bird thing where it tips its head to the side and it's looking at you, and
I'll do the same.
You do the same, and you're staring into each other's eyes. And what are you saying to this thing?
Oh, I'm just gonna imitate its noise, but quieter. And then just kind of point, because I assume the sun's not up yet.
Mm-hmm. It's
just
just
kind
starting.
of maintain that pointing until I see the sun, and then I'll just give it a thumbs up.
Okay. You start cock-a-doodle doing, and it gets a very aggressive look in its eyes. Like, you're its competition. You're another rooster out to make it with his hens. And he's really upset about this at first. But then you stare at him a little bit, and you point towards the sun, and it looks over at the sun, and it looks back at you, and then it just lets loose a caw so loud that it actually startles you. And you drop the rooster, and it runs back into the hen house. The rooster said, I would like to rage. You're not sure how successful you were at talking to the chicken. So, sun's up. Miss Mirabella is making you guys breakfast. It's locust, but it's good. Locust sack is good. It fries up nice in the morning.
I'm gonna bring in some eggs.
Oh, she thanks you. She's like, Filbert, you are just the most helpful dwarf I have ever met in my life.
You're right.
She's and so humble too.
And humble, yep.
And so you guys have breakfast. Mav, you can heal yourself from your wounds. You had a long rest. I didn't apply it. And so now you guys gotta head out to the cave and get the winterizing cloths.
Yep.
Yeah. Hey, I would like to. I don't want to do anything overt about it, but I just want to keep an eye on Filbert, because I kind of feel like, as the older big brother, that it's my job to help him find his place. So I just want to keep an eye out for like what he's doing, what he's good at, and how to help him make money for the Granitebacks.
Okay. Sounds good. So you guys are headed to the cave, which is up over here. Let me get that marker off of there. I gotta do it from here. There it goes. So you guys head up over there, and it's a small cave. And Othig, you remember that when you were here last, you were in the cave with her son, who showed it to you, and you guys had to squeeze in, not a lot, but it's a squeeze to get through the door, especially for dwarves, because you guys are a little thicker. So who wants to go in first?
I'll go first.
Nah, right. Hey, before you go in,
Yeah.
would you like to rock your blacksmith hammer and let me borrow your spear?
Yeah, definitely. I prefer the hammer.
I figured you would.
I mean, I prefer the hammer. Hi.
All right. As you guys are about to go in, Filbert, you get a very strange feeling. You have never felt this way before. It is a feeling of that there is something bad inside the cave. That is the only way you can process this feeling. And you hear the voice again. And it calls your name. It does call your name.
I'm gonna pause as these guys are switching weapons. Is there a wind or anything? Is any of that happening?
The wind is blowing. The dirt is swirling around in the area.
I'll take another deep breath like I did last time.
Okay. So it does feel good again. There is no way the other dwarves can miss it this time. You're all kind of huddled together. You guys watch as this, it's almost a tornado of wind and leaves. And it's not a big one. It's like the kind you'd see in a parking lot or a playground that's swirling around Filbert. And as he breathes in, it all goes inside of him.
I'm going to look at everybody and I'm just going to say, this doesn't feel good.
Stop doing it.
No. I'm just going to stare at that for like a good minute. And I'm just going to be like, I don't learn things the way you learn them. But you'd think you'd understand context by now.
Listen, all I saw you do was take a deep breath and say, this doesn't feel good.
Yep, I'm sticking with my statement. And then I'm just gonna point at the cave and ask, do I know that Othig is familiar with this? Has that been discussed?
I'm sure it was talked about.
Yeah, you said it when we got here. That you were happy. Yeah.
Yep. So here's my problem. We haven't seen her son, and she hasn't talked about him once. the last time you were here, she had a son, and this place was where he brought you. I don't feel good.
Oh, is that right? Did that? I don't remember. I may have missed it, but I don't remember her having a son. Like, I don't remember her talking. I don't remember anything about a son.
Yeah, she talked to Filbert about it. Filbert's actually wearing his vest.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I meant about Othig. Because you said Othig brought...
Yeah, when I was describing
Othig.
the entrance to the cave, I said that her son was here with Othig years ago when he was here.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry about that.
No, it's quite all right.
That was like I took extra medicine for my kidneys, and now I'm clearly regretting it.
It's all good.
We're not.
Okay, yeah, sorry.
And then, yeah, Filbert's just going to be really uneasy about this whole thing.
Okay, I'll just come up to Filbert and put my hand on his shoulder and just tell him to stay behind me, and we'll be okay.
Do you sneak up on me, or do you
No.
approach me from the front?
No, like approach you from the front.
Alright, because I was going to scream.
No.
Take nice deep breaths in. Inhale all that
Yeah.
mush.
No, and about as comforting as I can, I would just say, we'll be okay.
If you put your hand on my shoulder, I was like, are we going to play hide the spear?
No. Gosh. That's not my game.
It was your fault.
It might not be your game, but it definitely is your fault. And so you guys are going into the cave?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah. We're just going to be extra cautious about it.
Yeah,
I would like to poke my head inside and just take a deep breath, attempting to see if anything smells off about it.
Okay, make a perception check for me at advantage.
While he's rolling that, what do we, at our level, with our history, what do we know about magic? What's our feeling on it? Was there any exposure to that when we were in the army?
Yeah, you definitely would have had some exposure to magical effects when you were in the militia serving your time. There are definitely divine healers and warcasters and things like that. You'd be familiar with magic. You'd be familiar with natural magical phenomenon that happens from time to time as well. The world gets weird, and that's not for you because you guys are in that world, but stuff happens. Like,
Okay.
it's not 100% uncommon to see types of things like what Filbert was experiencing, but you've never seen them. You're just traveling craftsmen dwarves, but you've heard stories about stuff like that.
Okay, all right.
Yep. So you get into the cave, and you guys all smell it. There's an off smell to this cave. Filbert, this smells like the death of nature.
So it doesn't smell, it smells natural?
It does, but it smells the wrong kind of natural. Like, for us, the only way to describe what you're smelling is like, everybody knows roadkill smells bad. Everybody knows that roadkill next to a highway that's being asphalted smells vile.
Yeah.
That's what you're smelling. It's not just something's dead, it's something's vile.
Do we all smell it, or is it something that he just smells extra?
You don't all smell it. You all smell the smell of rotten death. Filbert
Okay.
is getting an extra heavy whiff.
Okay.
I'm going to take a moment and just kind of focus.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah.
Hey, I just want rip apart my shirt and shove 2 plugs in my nose. Then.
Yeah, dude, definitely. You grab a cloth or something that you got on you and you pull some out and you shove it in your nose.
I'm going to put 2 of my rocks in my nose so you can do that. And then, yeah, I kind of want to focus on the area around me and see if I feel like anything here is attempting to reach out. I don't necessarily know.
No, okay. Yeah.
Are you stopping the group, or?
Yeah,
or
I am.
Okay.
All right. So
Okay.
Filbert attempts to reach out and feel the force. That's basically what he's doing.
Yeah, kind of.
The
I want to
air-
put my head on the rocks and just kind of listen to the cave.
Filbert, this is a very strange experience for you. You don't feel a change in the atmosphere of the cave, but for the first time in your life, you understand what the others are talking about when they say, find your purpose. You feel like you need to be here, and you need to do something here.
So it doesn't feel like home. It just feels like, okay.
It feels like calling.
Cool. I'm going to take out my stick, and this will be the first time that you guys will ever see him take the lead and look mildly aggressive.
Okay.
All right. So
I'll stay with him.
Sure.
Confident. He looks
Find him
confident.
and let it stay with him.
All right. You see the boxes as you go a little bit deeper into the cave of the stuff that you need to get, and as you get there, you all begin to hear it. You hear Filbert, 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 Filbert.
Why do those boxes know your name?
And have you come to stand the trial?
No, I've come to beat it.
Roll initiative. As two very large, shadowy centipedes work their way up from the rocks, but they do not displace the earth at all.
Yikes. 6.
And so we got a 4, a 15, Vanek's got a 6, and Filbert's got a 4. So, all right.
Yay, we all got 4s.
So, starting at the top is giant centipede number 2, who is going to come in here and go to attack Filbert. And Filbert, it will hit you, and you will take 1 point of piercing damage, and somebody else in the group, let me roll for it. Othig, your side, right where Filbert was bit, begins to hurt and burn. Like you were just bit by this thing, and you also take a point of damage.
Whoa.
And it is now your turn.
Well, I'm going to hit it, I hope.
Yeah,
Yay!
you hit it. Nice.
Oh, man. So you lay into this shadowy centipede. You just give it a huge whack. You rolled the D10 again, didn't you?
You did.
Oh, yeah, whoops.
D20. I was just looking at your roll, and I was like, that's not right. Oh, 18. All right, so you get to add 5 to your damage, and you get advantage on your next attack.
Wait,
Nice.
what'd you say?
You get plus 5 to your damage roll, and you get advantage on your next attack. So I will add that to the total of...
So he did 13 damage just now.
He did 13 damage just now.
Nice.
Correct. But it doesn't...
No, I only did...
You did 8 plus the 5.
Okay, got it.
Yep. So you know you hit this thing hard. I mean, you've killed locusts. You fought rats. You know what you're doing now. And
I've swung at all that.
We're veterans.
you have saved it all up for the moment when you go to hit this shadowy centipede, and your spear goes right through it, and it doesn't look like it's hurt at all. But it definitely responds when your spear goes through it. You hear a shrieking sound out of it, and it turns and it looks at you, and its eyes glow red, but it doesn't look wounded. But you're pretty sure you heard it. And you're pretty sure you heard it bad.
Okay.
Thanik.
Okay, I am going to... Do I see both of them?
Yep.
Okay. I am going to... basically see that Othig and Filbert are here with number 2, but Mav might end up being... I'm going to go and support Mav, is basically
Okay.
what I'm saying.
So it's going to take an attack of opportunity?
Yep, that's fine.
Okay.
Did it hit me?
It will hit you.
Okay.
And Filbert, you're going to take 2 points of damage, and Thanak, you're going to take 1 as this thing bites you. And Filbert reels from the pain. You hear him yelp, and you take a wound, and you're like, oh, that hurts. But he definitely took it hard.
He took it harder. Okay.
Yep.
All right. And then I will just as I'm running, I'm just gonna charge and jump and swing all in one blow
Do it.
and fail miserably. Miserably.
Not that miserably.
I mean, miserably enough.
All right. So you're more worried about Filbert at this moment with that natural 1 as you go to a hit, because you did not expect him to be wounded when you were bit. All right. So that brings up Centipede 1.
Does the 12 overcome anything? Was there any
No.
side effects?
Nope.
Okay.
No side effects. So Centipede 1 goes to bite you because you just attacked it, and it will hit you. And so again, you will take 1 point of damage, and Filbert, you're going to take another 2.
Jeez.
Filbert, did you just die? Oh, well, there it is.
No.
All right, Mav, your turn.
Mav is going to throw the next spear in Stampede number 1.
All right.
Nice.
Not too bad.
Nice.
Nice.
Very
Not too bad
nice.
at all, doing 6 damage with that, and then he's going to reposition up to here.
Perfect. Filbert's turn.
Was it the same? Oh, sorry, real quick. Was it the same kind of damage, where it's like it looked like it? How did you
Yes.
describe it? Where like it,
His weapon passes right through the centipede, and it reacts like emotionally. It turns and it sneers at him, and it's looking around at who struck it, but it doesn't look like it's been wounded at all.
Okay.
Did it land on the ground behind the centipede?
Yes, it did.
So like went right through it.
Yep.
Okay. Do these things look? Oh, I'll wait for my turn. Never mind. Go ahead.
Okay. Filbert, you're up.
So, can I use my bonus action? I would like to fish out of my pocket that special rock I have. The one that I'm convinced fell off the moon. And I just want to press it into the wound that appeared on my side as I swing my stick at this thing and just, like, hiss at it like the grasshopper did at us.
Oh, sure. Filbert, that's a natural 20, buddy.
Nice.
You are ferociously angry with this centipede.
And what do we add to this?
Roll another d20. You don't add anything to it.
Okay.
So now do your crit damage. So Filbert, you clobber this thing, and as you do, you are healed. You watch as The centipede backs up and begins to glow white, and its energy begins to surround you, and you are healed for 3 points of damage. You all notice now that the darkness in the cave lifts a little bit.
Actually lit.
Yep.
And I will end my turn there.
Okay. Othig.
So I have enough movement to do this. Could I go behind Centipede 1 and pick up that other spear and stab it with both spears?
No. Well, no, as commoners, I'm not going to let you do wield. So.
Okay.
Trying to steal my spear.
It's my spear.
No, I'm just borrowing it.
You guys all have spirit. It's okay.
Your spear, my spear. I've heard it both ways.
All right, so you clobber this centipede as well. You run behind it, and you stab it in the back, and it turns and hisses at you, and it's the same thing. It reacts to being hit, but it doesn't look like it's hurt.
All right, I am going to do my best to grab, to hold on to my hammer with both hands, except the handle's too small, so I can't. And then I just give a little curse, and then I just swing it.
You'll hit it.
Hit it. With a 3!
Yeah, you hit it. You hit it pretty solidly. You give it a good whack across the jaw, and again, the weapon passes through it, and it reacts, but you don't know if it damaged it really or not. All right, so it is its turn, and it has 2 targets. So, Adam, your turn to pick odd or even.
Even.
Even. Ryan's going to get attacked. All
Oh,
right.
can I choose to make it attack me?
No, you can't. Sorry.
Alright.
But it is going to miss. It goes with it. It doesn't go to bite him. It looks like it's about to bite him, and then it tries to feint and then strike with his stinger. But Othig's ready for it. He moves, and the gong deflects the blow. Mav.
Mav's going to throw a spear.
Does that mean the gong sounded?
Yes.
Yes.
Nice.
All right. So you do 5 more damage to this centipede, and it is writhing around, and it's now focusing at you, but it's not gone.
Am I worried that the spear might have went into Othig?
No.
Okay. I'm going to pick up the other spear that's on the ground.
Okay, cool. And then it is Filbert's turn. Filbert.
Come on, Filbert, come kill.
Yeah.
Oops. I just bumped the wrong thing. It had, what did it have for initiative?
4.
4.
Yeah.
There it is. Okay.
Yeah, so technically we're all going at the same time.
Yeah.
Unless it had a higher X.
I know we're on the tail end. I've just got a few minutes, though.
Yep, I know. I'm watching.
So I'm just gonna overhand, 2-handed, and just wallop down on it.
And you definitely wallop down on it. And you wallop down on it hard. And as you pull away from it this time, at first it starts to do the same thing. It's like your weapon passes through it, and then you pull back up. And as you pull back up, it kind of starts to split in half. And a green light pops up out of it. And it glows, and it becomes the face of a woman. Very weird looking woman. You've never quite seen anything like this before. And it floats around in front of you a little bit, and then she leans forward and kisses you on the forehead, and then everything goes back to normal.
Well, that's just weird.
Filbert, you feel awesome.
What in blazes was that?
Yes.
I think I'm married now.
Ah, good stuff.
Well,
So the centipede's gone?
Centipedes are gone. The
I'm
cavern.
gonna pick up the two, the other spear.
Okay.
I don't think he's gonna laugh at Filbert's comment, slap him on the back, and tell him that maybe he's been sleeping outside too much.
Eating too many of those mushrooms.
I don't eat mushrooms.
Trav is gonna say, okay, let's get going and move these boxes.
Yeah, I'll go take a look at the boxes. Is there anything weird about them?
Nothing at all. They're boxes full of stuff that they keep out here. They don't have a basement, so they kind of use this as a storage cellar. This is stuff that's very seasonal. There's some extra farming equipment kept out here that doesn't look like it gets used very often. But you find the two crates of window coverings for the windy season.
Okay. And there's nothing weird about the rest of the cave?
Not at all.
Everything's...
It's absolutely
Alright, boys,
normal.
let's get the test. Let's get going. Plenty more to do in this city.
Hey, real quick, it sounds like Megan's got a ride home, apparently.
Well, hot dog.
Alright, sweet.
So I can hang out.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
don't have to
alright.
rush through the ending.
Oh, yeah, I guess we're fine.
All right. So
Where
you,
was she?
She's working.
Oh, okay. Alright, cool.
so you guys grab the crates. You have no problem carrying them back to the house. They're big crates, so they're a little on the heavy side, but not a big deal at all.
We're big dwarves.
Yes, you are big dwarves. So you head back for the house and head back inside, and she asks you to put the crates in the storage room, and she opens up the door for you. You drop them off there. She thanks you for everything you've done. She's like, you really have been wonderful.
What?
Can I
What?
explain
happened?
the spirit and ask her if she knows what that would be?
You were both talking at once. Were you saying you
I
wanted
was
to
gonna
ask her
ask
about
about
the
the
spirit?
Okay. Tony, you first.
Oh, okay. I'm just gonna look directly at her and ask her what happened to her husband.
Okay. And Andy, what were you gonna ask?
I was gonna explain kind of the spirit that we saw kiss Tony and ask if she knows what that would be.
Sure.
Or who that would be.
She would explain to you that, my husband was killed in town years ago. Bar fight. A man drew a knife and stabbed him in the neck. And then when you ask her about the spirit, her eyes kind of open up. And she says, I don't really want to talk about that. It's very uncranish.
I would tell her, I would apologize, but kind of push more, seeing as that we dealt with it.
Make a persuasion check with advantage, because you guys have, for the most part, done a pretty good job for this lady. Other than that grain elevator mishap.
While he's doing that, do I notice anything different about my rock?
No. Nope. You don't notice anything different about your rock at all.
Yes, the thing that's different about your rock is that it's embedded into your hip.
I mean, yes, that's true.
Covered in blood. Let's see. That's not a terrible roll. It's not a great roll either, though. So let's see what happens. All right. It's going to be a partial success. She says, my husband always believed there was and she shudders a little bit. She says, a dryad that lived in the hills that blessed our farm. I don't know. I'm uncomfortable with such things.
We would know what that is, right?
Yes, you would know what that is.
Why do
So,
you...
do we just curse her land by killing the dryad?
No, the Dryad seemed pretty happy with...
Yeah.
Bill.
Seemed like it was happy about what we did.
I suppose.
What?
Congrats,
What
Phil.
is-
You might have married a dryad.
What's uncrinish about that?
Well, it's not a human or a dwarf like you. It's something else entirely.
Yeah, aren't they more focused on like physical might instead of magical means?
Yeah, and basically anything sentient that's not a human or a dwarf is
Looked down upon
it's not.
as lesser, but
It's like-
not useless.
Yeah, it's almost like they view it as inferior, don't they?
Absolutely. Even something
But
that
with
would
a-
be magically powerful, they still are uncomfortable with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
They might fear it more, but it wouldn't be okay. So you guys you'd be looking for answers, but you'd be a little unsettled with what happened.
Okay.
I had asked her if she had any other work for us before we got heading back to town.
She says absolutely not, but here, take this. And she writes out a note to the vault keeper in town, and you are going to be allowed, the Granitebacks will be allowed to keep the deposit.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
I appreciate your time, and the Granitebacks appreciate your business. And if you're not completely satisfied, please call the 800 number on the back of your card.
You spent too much time on hold today.
And so you guys take the next, it's mid-morning by the time this is over. You ate breakfast, then went out to the cave and came back, so it's not late at all. Take the next 6 hours and head back to your caravan.
Oh, before we leave, I'm going back and I'm going to intimidate that rooster.
All right. Make an intimidation check on the rooster.
Oh.
That was a buddy on my screen. That is.
All right. You get right in the rooster's face and you tell it to stop crowing at the sun, and it turns around, rage in its eyes, and pecks you straight in the nose for 4 damage.
Jeez. It really is a barbarian rooster.
I'm unconscious.
Oh.
I am so happy with that
Oh,
film.
you went there by yourself. No one knows you're unconscious.
No.
We're gonna have to. It's gonna be like minutes before we like come around and like.
Yeah.
What does that kid do?
He's gonna fail his death saves by the
Next
time
week,
we-
you guys saving throws.
Oh, he
Don't
doesn't
die.
need to. He is only unconscious. So he doesn't need to make death saving throws.
Alright.
As the chicken pecks him to death.
Well, that's actually a
What's the
possibility.
best is we're just gonna look out the window and he's just laying on the ground unconscious. We have no evidence of what happened. Don't have any idea.
Just a small trickle of blood out of a small hole on his nose.
Yeah. Like honestly, we probably wouldn't even go get him right away because he's weird. He's probably just laying on the.
Trying to like communicate with the rooster.
Yeah.
Oh, it's quality. Absolute quality. So you guys are sitting around and realize that he's not getting up.
I'll go get him, and I'll go get him, kick him a couple times, and be like, "Oh wait, he's not moving."
There is a very proud-looking rooster on the fence, and the minute you begin to move, Phil, it begins to crow with all of its like earthly strength. It is the most magnificent rooster crowing you have ever heard in your life. There's something almost magical about it.
If I'm the mystery death, it better happen with this rooster. I have an arch nemesis now.
Yeah, Mike's gonna make a were rooster. Yeah, that's it.
That's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So, after a while, you get Phil up. What would you like to do now?
I'm just gonna pick him up and head on. Get back on the road to go back to town.
All right. You guys head back to town. Phil, you can.
Wait, hold on. I'm gonna pick him up and run into the lady's house. He's bleeding out!
That's like all you do.
You know,
She looks over his wounds and she's like, he's not really hurt all that bad.
All right, we'll be on our way.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
All right.
So, yeah, you pack up, you head out of town, and head away from the farm, head back to town. So you get back to the caravan pretty late in the afternoon. Do you want to stop by town before you head and drop off the banknote, or do you want to turn that in to Oren? Typically, you'd turn that in.
We should. Mav, why don't you go turn that in, and I'll bring Phil to camp so we can.
Well, Oren's
I'll
at
go
camp.
turn the banknote, and then I'll buy everybody a beer, as is customary.
It is a good hard day's work. So.
Filbert will not partake.
He can't.
He can't.
Oh, that's fair.
Not only.
You'd be up with a hit point at this point. But,
Yep.
But yeah, I'm telling you, you can't be drinking right now.
You might get in a fight with the chicken and lose.
You guys notice, like, his nose is super black and blue. Like, whatever happened to him, you don't know if he tripped and hit the fence post or what, but whatever happened, it obviously happened right at his nose.
I'll ask him as I'm bringing him back to camp or wherever we're staying. I'm like, what happened to you? What did you do?
I am going to say, I am going to say that the spirit came back and blessed me with unconsciousness.
Okay. Do I believe him?
Oh, crap.
Make a deception and insight check. Opposed checks, please.
13.
No, not at all.
Not even a little.
Not even a little bit. You do not believe him. So,
All right, I'll just tell him. I'll drop him off and just tell him he needs to work on his story before more people ask what happened. And that's it.
all right. Let's see. While you guys are in the tavern, there's a bunch of the Graniteback clan in there. The resting house is full of dwarves at this moment, and it's a pretty decent rockin' celebration. There's a couple of bards in town that they frequent the town often at this time to catch you guys, because they know you're coming into town to drop a lot of money. Let's see. What else is going on? Yeah, that's what's happening. Where are we at? Amcom is in there, and he is arguing with what looks to be a town official of some kind. They're off in the corner, in one of the corner tables, having a fairly heated discussion. And that's the chief provisioner. He is the one who was fighting with Oren earlier.
Would it be like inappropriate to approach?
It might not. You don't know what they're fighting about. You don't know if they're fighting about cards or if they're fighting about something serious. It is unusual to see him.
I would walk right up to them and say something like basically, what's all this arguing about that couple drinks could? Or,
With the drinks in hand.
yeah, for sure.
Okay. The official looks at Amcom and says, "Go ahead, dwarf. Tell them what the problem is. Tell them how it won't be solved by a couple of drinks." And the guy gets up and leaves. And Amcom tells you that it's none of your concern. He'll work it out.
Who is Amcom again?
The chief provisioner.
Okay.
Yep, he's one of the clan heads.
Yeah, I couldn't remember where he was in what his job was.
Yep.
I'm going to tell him that I'm sure he's got everything under control, and I'm going to hand him his drink.
Yeah, he thanks you for it.
I'm going to ask him to toast to a job well done today.
He raises his mug and he says, "Oh, yeah, that's a good thing to toast to. Let's toast. Let's get drunk."
Aye.
And so you guys spend the rest of the night in the tavern, hooping and hollering, partying it up. The bards are having a good time. Filbert is being Filbert, if he even came along.
Gilbert's in the stables.
Filbert's in the
I'm
stable.
staying with Phil.
Okay. Phil, what are you doing? Just talking to the horses?
All chickens are jerks.
I am not necessarily like standing next to Phil, but I'm like I took Phil home, and I'm just staying home around to make sure that he's okay if he needs anything. And I'll probably just be like sketching out some designs.
Okay.
Don't play hide and seek with him.
No, kids are gross.
So, yeah, night goes on. Everybody gets home sooner or later. Being that you're all dwarves, it mostly is later. The innkeeper's happy. Anybody who went to town drinking can remove a silver piece from... That's about what you'd spend all night. It's a silver's worth of maybe 2.
Assuming that'd be 10 silver pieces and a gold.
Yes. Let's remove 2 silver pieces. You are dwarves, and it is drinking after all.
What did we start with?
Whatever you were left with from your commoner's background. It's not much.
Oh, I actually didn't even take that into consideration.
You would get 5 gold pieces from the counter.
I don't have anything.
The Kranish craftsman, traveling craftsman has five gold.
Yeah. I think 5 is fair. That's what you guys should probably all have.
For what it's worth, I just figured this out the other day, but do you know why dwarves drink so much?
Because Andy invented the golden ale.
No, because they're resistant.
Gabe invented the golden
That's true.
ale.
Gabe did.
No, they're resistant to poison.
Yep. Totally. That's why.
That's totally why.
Is it the chicken or the egg that came first?
Yeah, why are they resistant to poison?
No.
How did the golden ale get... Again, I thought it was the dwarves at Copperhome.
Gabe wished it into existence in the jungles of Saraporsa.
Oh, yeah! I totally forgot about that because we...
Yeah.
And gave it to a bunch of cannibal dwarves. Like 150,000 years ago.
Yeah, like right before we invaded the sketch temple.
Yep, the Medusa's temple.
I was forming an army. What better way to form an army than with...
Yeah, that's right, because we asked them to give us Von Richten, and they were like, no, we want to eat them.
We're gonna eat it.
Yep. So, and I guess that's where we'll stop for the night then. You all go to bed and we'll see what happens tomorrow.
Hey, I'm...
Well,
Go ahead.
you yelled and then went away.
What's the silver gold conversion? What is it, 100?
10 to 1.
10 to 1? Okay.
Adam, what were you hollering about?
What's leveling like for?
Oh,
for
you'll
commoners?
be level 2 commoners, so next week you get another hit point.
Sweet. What else do we get? We get something else at level.
You might get something else at level 2.
You
We
do.
do, we
You
do.
get something every level. Level 2, you're gonna get mild flavoring. So you get a feat based on your class that you're going to turn into, or if you're making your own, something that's similar to the class that you're turning into.
Yeah.
And they have
You
that
get a
outlined.
feat?
You get a feat.
It's based specifically. It's a very specific
Yeah.
feat to what. So like barbarians, we get clerics get healer. The druids
Yeah.
get magic initiative, but it's a very specific. It's not even really like druids. They get a magic initiative feat, but you have to pick 3. Like you have to. It gives you the 3.
You get Druidcraft Guidance and Animal Friendship. Sorcerer,
Yeah,
you're
you can't.
given the 3 spells. Warlock.
Yeah, so like normally for magic initiative you'd be able to pick the class to pick the cantrips and spell, but this is you have to pick those.
Yep. Those of you who are going to get the Weapon Master feat, Like if you open up
Yeah.
the commoner thing and open up mild flavoring, it tells you what feat you got. You guys can now roll the d8s on spears because I think 2 of you are getting that.
Okay.
Or Adam, if
I
you
drop
use your
another
hammer, you
one,
can roll a
but-
d6.
Sorry, hold on. Say that again.
I'm sorry, if you use your smithing hammer, because you can get up to 4 weapons you're proficient with, you could roll a d6.
Yeah. Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Spears will go up to a d8 for you. Hammer will go up to a d6. Ryan,
Okay.
what were you going to say?
Oh, I was just gonna say, I'll see that if I drop another commoner from the AOG Talos campaign.
Yes, it should show
Right.
up.
Sweet.
The easy way to do that, Ryan, is go into your main sheet, and for your level or for your character, class and level, just open up the
Lasso or magnifying glass.
yeah, and then just pull it out and put it back in.
And if you click on the shield next to your class and go to other, you'll actually see the features of the class.
The shield. What do you mean?
What shield? I don't remember there being a shield.
Oh,
It depends on what background you're using. What you're like for some people it's the dragon head for the background I'm using and
Oh, it is a shield. That is totally a shield.
Yep.
I never noticed that.
the little brown button is a shield.
Yeah.
oh, that. Yeah. Okay.
How much hit points did we get? Just one?
You should only get 1 plus your con.
Okay.
So if you have a 0 con, you'd have 7 hit points now.
So I hope you
Also,
guys
your
in,
hit dice should be a d6.
Sorry,
I don't know.
we're saying we were.
But we
level,
don't-
right?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I started leveling. Are we doing that or?
yes, you definitely are leveling.
Okay, so we wake up leveled.
Yep. Every week of our commoner adventures, you guys will level.
Oh, well, that's easy to remember.
Yep. That way when we get to the end of the 4 weeks, you're level 5, you'll complete that and you'll go off to become a real adventurer. Yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed being terrified of rats and grasshoppers.
Yeah, that's
This
great.
was awesome.
Yeah.
There was some slight anxiety not being able to hit a rat.
That's just so funny. It's like it's just a rat. It's
Yeah.
like you imagine yourself in your own basement having to fight off a rat and how scary that would actually be.
Yeah.
It's like the time Adam and I caught bats in my house in Seymour.
Oh my gosh.
It was one of the most terrifying events of my life. And I've
Yeah.
fallen off of cliffs and been in car accidents, but that bat hiding in Nate's coat was the scariest thing that ever happened. Yep. Commoners. So,
Commoners.
let's see what kind of trouble we can get in next week.
Sounds good. Well, my wife just got home, so I'm gonna go.
All right. You guys have a good night.
Later, guys.
Night, guys.
Night.